Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today we are answering your YouTube questions. And when I say we, I mean myself and my brother from the same mother, D.
What is going on, everybody? How was your week? How was your week?
My week was fantastic. How was your week?
Well, my week was great.
What about the last 30 minutes?
Yeah,
How was that?
Yeah, so funny thing, and I should have it. I should have it in my hand right now. So just to tell you how the days went so far, well, this evening, went in, water leak in the bathroom, Roger Wakefield, if you're listening right now. This is probably Roger's.
He's like, water leak.
Yeah, yep. The bat signal just went up. Right, the Wakefield signal just went up. Right here.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, we got a water leak coming out of the sink in the bathroom, and it's metal. And I grabbed it, and I'm just kind of wiggling to see where the leak's coming from. It just broke off in my hand.
Yep.
In water. And then we couldn't get the water shut off the main line. So it's been one of those evenings.
Had to call maintenance guy up.
Yeah, had to get maintenance in here. It's been fun.
All of that right in time for the stream.
And we are still live.
Yep.
What's your excuse?
That's right.
Why are you not live streaming right now?
That's right. That's right. Probably because they're watching this one. If you are watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that we do have timestamps down in the description. So a lot of different questions get asked on this live stream. And some of those questions you might want to know the answers to, but you don't really even know that you want to know that, or that you have that question. So because of that, I encourage you, if you are watching this on the replay, to either just sit back and listen to the stream, because we talk about everything related to YouTube during these streams. In addition to that, if you are limited on time, feel free to go down to the video description and find the specific questions that matter the most to you. And then you can just jump straight to those using the timestamps. Also, just as a reminder, this is also available on all of the podcasting platforms as well. So if you do just want the audio version, then you can find it on all the podcasting platforms. You can also find it over on YouTube Music as well. So with all that stuff out of the way, I do want to let you know today's stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. TubeBuddy will help you test your thumbnails to make sure that the thumbnails that you're making are effective for the audience that you're trying to reach.
I have effective thumbnails.
There's some good looking thumbnails. Those are good. Those are good. Effective. Are you a hand model by chance?
I'll poke your eyes out with these.
Yeah, I think you might have attempted that, maybe several times.
Throughout the course of a lifetime.
Right, I think so.
These were probably very effective thumbnails
probably,
at one time.
at least in the eye socket somewhere.
Yeah.
But they also help you do like bulk updates to your content. So like, let's say, for example, you have just one blurb of text, or let's say you have a link or something in your description that you need to change across your entire archive. You can do things like that within TubeBuddy. But they've got an entire suite of tools that will help you with what it is that you're doing on YouTube, and TubeBuddy should be a part of your toolkit. You can find it for yourself and try it so you can see, what it can do for you at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. In addition to that, this stream is co-brought to you by Streamyard, which is the live streaming platform that we use to stream this every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that we use Streamyard is because it's easy. They make it easy to bring guests on. They make it easy to add graphics to the screen. They also hold the stream open in the cloud. So let's say we're streaming right now and our power goes out.
Or you have a water damage.
Or you have water and it shorts everything out.
Right.
Then in that particular case, what would typically happen is the stream would go down and then you would lose everybody that was hanging out in the stream. With Streamyard, they hold it open in the cloud, which gives you time to come back in on your phone while you're getting everything started back up again. And you can keep the stream going without losing everybody that you've gained in that stream, which is a huge deal. So you can try Streamyard for yourself and see all of the different features like adding graphics, adding background music, adding videos to your streams, things like that at StreamYard.com. And of course, I've got links to those and a bunch of other helpful tools and resources for you down in the description as well.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm contractually obligated to not drink until you say today's show is brought to you by Streamyard.
Yeah.
I don't take a sip until you mention it.
Until I mention that particular part. Yep.
Yeah.
Then you get to say it.
Yeah.
Yep. So all the other fun contractually obligated stuff, like he's not allowed to even say certain words.
Right.
They're not allowed to come out of his mouth, and it was written in just because they don't like the way that he says it.
Yeah.
But not really. But Okay. So
I'll show you the contract.
So let's go. So let's go ahead and get into the questions today. But before we do, actually, a couple things. So just in case you missed the stream that I did yesterday with Daryl Eves, just a heads up, YouTube is adding this functionality to our YouTube channels now where you can find a language setting. Not everybody has this yet. They're testing it on a bunch of channels, and then, this is going to be rolling out to everybody in the future. But as a part of this, it allows you to load audio dubs into your YouTube videos, which then makes them accessible for more people around the world. So basically how it works is, let's say somebody is watching YouTube in Spanish. Then in that particular case, if your title and thumbnail are translated in Spanish, which you can do in that same area.
In Espanol.
And then your audio is also dubbed in that language. As soon as they click on the video, they're going to get the audio in their native language as well, which is really cool. And Daryl actually made a tool where it sounds like you and everything. But you can check that out in the stream that we did yesterday. I've got a link to that in the description as well. But that's an awesome update in terms of what YouTube is doing. In addition to that, if you're a live streamer, if you go and you look at your chat options, so when you look at your live stream chat, you're going to see, if you pick the drop down at the very top, you're going to see top chat, you're going to see live chat, but they've also recently added an option for fan funding. And with fan funding, it covers your super chats, super stickers, channel memberships, and gifting. So how that works is, like, if somebody gives a super chat, or a bunch of people give super chats, and you're wanting to just keep track of those and find them more easily, instead of having to scroll through your chat a bunch, which we had to do in the future, you can just turn that option on, and then it's just only going to show those things, and then you can keep better track of them. Now, of course, StreamYard, keeps track of those things for you as well, but just in case you are going live, directly into YouTube or using, something else, this is a feature that you can absolutely, use as well. So the very first question, so we can go ahead and get into the content today, is from Build with Mooney. Build with Mooney uploads one time per week or more. They have a woodworking channel. The goal of the channel is to share and teach. And the question is, how do you film and record information on your computer as you do in your videos? Do you use a screenshot and then edit, or is there a device that records your screen while you perform each task? Just trying to up my game when it comes to my editing. Thanks. So here's what you do, John. So in my particular case, and I'm sure everybody has, different workflows, so I'll share mine and then we'll see what Dee does. But what I do is I will make a note. So if I'm recording a video and I know that I'm going to be showing...
What are you making?
What do you mean?
What's the question?
Hello?
No. I mean, what's your process? Like, what are you explaining? Like, what are you showing?
Well, this is just about anything where I'm showing my screen.
Just screen recording
just
in general.
Screen recording in general.
All, that's all you need to say.
Yeah, well, to know if it's screenshot in the edit, or if there's something that is recording the screen while I'm performing each task.
All right.
Yeah, so basically how it works.
All you got to do, I'm just explaining how I screen record. That's all I had to say.
So how I do it is I'll make a note. So if I'm recording the audio, then in that particular case, if I'm only going to be highlighting just very specific things, then I'll make a note saying that I need the screen recordings for those parts. And then I'll either do a screen recording if it's going to be multiple steps, or I'll do a screenshot if it's just one thing that I'm trying to get people to focus on. If it is a long tutorial where I'm taking people through a process, then in that case, I use a tool called Camtasia that allows you to record your camera and your screen at the same exact time. So then you can be sitting there talking, and you can be going over whatever it is on your screen, and then you can show whatever processes that you want, and then you can fully edit the video inside of Camtasia, or you can just edit out that screen recording and then load that into whatever other software that you use to edit your videos, and then kind of build everything together that way.
Wait a minute, it will record your camera at the same time separately?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a totally separate track. So you get an audio track.
I didn't know that, and we'll put them both in the timeline.
Yep,
I did not know that.
Yep. Yeah, so you get a full camera,
right?
And then you get the screen recording, and then you get audio as well. And what's cool is with the camera, I
use Camtasia, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, and in the new one, they had an update that dropped about 6 months ago. You can also remove your background too. So, like, let's say that you just want to put yourself in the corner, but you don't want to have a circle or square or like whatever. Then you can just completely remove your background, and then you're just there, on the screen, which is also cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I'm on a PC, I do screen recording with Camtasia, but I didn't know I could add my camera too.
Yep.
But since I've switched over to a Mac, I've been using QuickTime. QuickTime does.
The problem with QuickTime
there's no problem with QuickTime.
Is that you can record the screen, but you can't zoom in and do all of those things and maintain the quality.
Right.
So on a phone, when people are watching videos on a phone,
shines.
Right. On a phone, when people are watching videos on a phone, then technically they can zoom in. But if you want to make it easy for the viewer, which is always the game, then in that particular case, when you're editing it, then you can just zoom in on whatever it is that you need. You can draw squares around things. Like, it's an advanced screen recording tool.
Another cool thing about Camtasia is you can say, like, follow the cursor,
right?
Or it pushes in. It just feels more net. It's made for that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
With QuickTime, it's great for giving feedback on a website or giving feedback on something and sending it, via like email or something real quick. But in terms of like, recording content for your channel, you definitely want to be able to like zoom in and like without losing quality. And
so Monique
like
Joyner also did not know that it would record your camera at the same time.
Yep, we just learned something today.
Yep, there you go.
We just learned something today. Love it.
There you go.
So our next question today, for your process, what do you do when it comes to putting videos together? Is it similar?
I just told you.
Well, you said you said that you do those two things, but in terms of the edit, so you don't edit inside of that. You basically export the screen recording and then you drop it into CapCut, I'm guessing, and then you basically stack them in there.
I mean, anytime I've done any sort of screen recording, like let's say I'm doing a tutorial, I'm going to do my intro, whatever that hook is, whatever the lead up is. Then I'm going to put in the screen recording, and then I'm going to go through the painstaking process of trying to match what I'm saying with the actual screen recording. Okay. Because I guarantee I messed up multiple times. Okay. I had to retake stuff. So that, trying to match all of that up. So it hurts.
Okay.
But
how much does it hurt? Like 1 to 10.
Yeah. It's kind of like getting kicked in the shin.
Okay. Okay, so it's not too bad,
right? Like you had steel toe.
So it hurts, but not like you can still walk, but you might have a limp.
If you had like steel toe boots on and you kicked me in the shin, as an adult,
that kind of sounds like something that we might want to try.
No, I got it. Ready?
Okay.
It would be like, remember you'd race bicycles, and you'd kick your pedals and they'd spin around and hit you in the shin.
And you have the bear trap pedals,
and you have the bear trap pedals and it hits you in the shin.
Yeah,
it's a little bit worse than that.
Okay. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, might have you limping for a while.
But it doesn't hurt as bad as losing a play button.
Yep. That's true. Wow. So next up, we've got Aaron Gaming Nation. Aaron Gaming Nation says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to grow my channel because I enjoy making videos for the fun of it more than an actual business. And the question is, my channel has increased a decent amount over the past 2 months. Is there anything that I can do to improve my content, thumbnails, etc.? So this is where learning YouTube analytics is to your advantage. So when it comes to YouTube analytics, a lot of content creators are intimidated by it, or they just don't want to do it because you're a creator. You just want to make stuff and put it out there, and you want to hope that people enjoy it. We all, everybody kind of wants to do that. But when it comes to the analytics, the reason that you want to learn how to read and interpret your analytics is because it answers questions like this. So you can have somebody go and like look at your YouTube channel and give you feedback on your YouTube channel based on their experience. But the downside is, if they're not looking directly in your analytics, then they're sharing information based on what it is that they know, but they might not be able to like really like zero in into the detail that you need. So because of that, if you learn how to use your analytics, then you can go and answer these questions. You can say, okay, is there anything I can do to improve my content? The way that you answer that question is you go into your audience retention reports, which is a report that YouTube gives us for free with every video that we publish, and it shows us second by second how people are responding to our content over time on average. Tom Nash in the house, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. But basically, that particular graph, it shows you how people are responding on average over time. So because of that, it shows you like, okay, hey, if I'm not having trouble getting people past this first 30 seconds, then I can see that. And then I can tell that that's an area that I need to work on. And you can just rinse and repeat that through the entire video. And then in addition to that, they also give you another drop down where they let you see how your content compares to other content of similar length. So you'll see another graph that goes across and it'll show you just how you're comparing. So you can be like, wow, I'm either way below average here, I'm above average, or I'm doing, kind of okay, right along with everybody else. And it starts to give you those insights into, how your videos are performing against others. And then you have the absolute one, which is the first one that I explained. And on that one, it shows you very specific areas within your own content that you can start to troubleshoot from there. And the way that you troubleshoot is by experimenting with theories you come up with in terms of, I think people left because I was doing this. And then you test that against future videos and you keep rinsing and repeating that process until you find the things that cause people to leave your videos, and you do less of those, and you find the things that cause people to stick around your videos more, which then you lean more into those and do more of those things to keep people watching longer. When it comes to your thumbnails, same exact thing. So when it comes to your thumbnails, they also give you your click-through rate compared to impressions, and they also show you the traffic sources or the pages of YouTube where your your thumbnails are getting clicked on. And when it comes to your click-through rate, this one's a little bit like cloudy because your topic impacts it, your thumbnail impacts it, your title impacts it, and your autoplay. When, people are hovering over the video and YouTube starts playing the video, all of these things impact your click-through rate. But when you do see that click-through rate information, you can identify like, okay, this is really underperforming compared to how my stuff usually does. So do I think it's the topic? Do I think I need to redo the thumbnail or redo the title in order to try to make this better for the people that I'm trying to reach with this?
Carry this for a moment.
Okay. Next
I
up
gotta
on
fix something on here.
Next up on the list here, we've got the Dream Builder 21. Dream Builder 21 says that they've been on YouTube for less than a year, automotive content. The goal of the channel is to entertain people with my projects, to distract them from their day. And the question is, when you use a word in your word block list, does it completely stop users from using that word no matter what way they construct the comment? Yeah, so it doesn't stop them from using it, but it stops it from showing up from public view. So what he's talking about here is in your YouTube channel, if you have things that people say to you in your comment section, you're like, yeah, I don't like that, it makes me uncomfortable, or it's mean or whatever, then in that particular case, you can add those words or phrases to your blocked words list. In order to find this, you log into your Creator Studio on your computer, you click on the little settings icon down in the bottom left-hand side of the page. Once you click on that, a box is going to pop up. There, you click into the community area, and then you scroll to the very bottom of that, and you're going to see an area that says blocked words. So you put whatever words that you want to block into there, and how that thing works is, let's say that the word is phone, okay? Then in that particular case, if I go to your channel after you put the word phone in there, and I say, hey, this looks great on my phone, or hey, why don't you get a new phone, you jerk? Then in that case, phone would be the trigger word, and hopefully jerk might be in there too. And then with that, what happens is YouTube will remove that from public view, and then they will put it into another area called held for review. And then you can choose to go and look into the held for review section and see the things that people are saying, or you can just ignore that area completely and never look at it, and then you'll never see those comments. Keep in mind though, people can get around it. So like, let's say for example, again, the word is phone. They could do P star H star O star, and they can do creative things like that to get around it.
That's how I do it.
But what you're trying to cut down on is the people that are just being rude, and not people that are being like strategically rude, right? But even with those, if you do find ways that people are getting around it, you can also just copy those and paste those right into the blocked words list as well. And over time, you end up creating just a really clean community based on how you've designed that part.
So lots of people, because I talk about this a lot. And man, what is going on? We're having problems with
your loop's not on.
Yeah, I know, but it keeps. Yeah. Anyway, life happens. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. So Tom Nash was like, "Oh, the stream is going smoothly today," and almost to the second when he said that
broke.
This started messing up. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, so hit play, hit the loop icon. You should be good.
No, it keeps breaking.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
The loop doesn't loop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The loop is on.
No, that's shuffle.
Yeah, well,
turn shuffle off, turn loop on.
Yep. It was
and then start with the original file.
It was. Anyway, it goes a couple times and it stops.
Huh, weird.
Yeah, really, it's like it goes and it stops. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
From this day forward, this is called the Tom Nash TV. The Tom Nash TV is what it's called. We're going to put a picture. We have a little sticker of Tom's face right here. Tom Nash TV. So I was going to say, a lot of times when I talk about the blocked words list,
yes,
people will say, hey, can I have your list? My list
would probably offend you.
My list is so horrific. And it has words in there that people should not have to read.
Okay.
And I don't think I'll say never, but I probably have not shared my list with people unless I'm really close. Like unless we don't if we hang out in person, you might have the list.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would feel embarrassed to give somebody the list because I don't want you to even think about that those words came out of my head to even put them in there. But
think about, why would he block those words?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably like a whole other set of
right. Yeah.
judgment.
What's wrong with elephants?
God, I can't believe that word's in there.
Yeah.
But why would he want that blocked? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah. It opens up a whole can of worms.
No, well, I mean, a lot of it comes from either comments that people have left on my account or comments I see on other people's channels. Sometimes I'll go down and leave a comment, and there's just some horrible stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm adding that to mine. But I don't want anybody to think that, those are words that I think about.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to shame myself.
Well, it's not necessarily that you think about them. It's just that you had to think about it for the temporary mode of putting them together.
What I'm trying to say is they're really bad. There's some really bad words in there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. My blocked words list is pretty bad.
Next up on our list here, we got Pro Fan Talk. Pro Fan Talk uploads every other day. They do sports content. The goal of the channel is to share my opinions on trending sports topics as a former NFL player. The question is, following your tips, I've reached 2,000 subscribers. Congratulations to you.
Right.
And had my first video with over 60,000 views. What is the best strategy to duplicate that success? Love your content. Fist bump. So when it comes to having a video pop off, a couple of things that you have to do, and this particular part of it is kind of like the least fun part because you want to get back to just making another video. But you need to go in and start thinking about why you think, like at the core, start thinking of why it is that you think people responded better to that video in the first place, just from the outside, right? Like, okay, topically, is this something that's a little bit more broad within my niche? If so, then maybe that's why they responded. Is it the timing of this video? At the moment that I'm talking about this thing, is there like a heightened amount of interest around this? Is this something that's even like lightweight trending in the type of content that I make? Was I like the first on this? So let's say, for example, in your case, because you're doing, sports topics, so, like did the game just finish and I was the first person to put up a video with my feedback of the game. And then because of that, I was the first one and people were looking for it. There's nothing else available, at that time, which would kind of fall under timing too. And then from there, once you get through that, if you figure out that like, okay, it wasn't necessarily the timing, it wasn't necessarily something that's trending beyond something else, you kind of alleviate those things to where it's like, yeah, maybe I can repeat this. Then from there, you start looking at the packaging. And by packaging, I mean the thumbnail and title. So you start looking at that and you start thinking to yourself, okay, with this thumbnail, why do I think, this was able to grab people's attention? And then you come up with all the different theories that you have around that. And then the same exact thing with the title. Why do I think the people that I'm trying to reach with my content clicked on this as much as they did and then came into the actual video itself? And then what you do with that information is as you're coming up with these theories, you write everything down. And then when it comes to making the other videos that you make, you start applying some of those similar things to that content to see if you get a similar response there. In addition to that, when it comes to the video content itself, analyze the heck out of that video. So what you want to do is you want to go in literally in like 5 to 10 second chunks, start looking at that video from the very beginning and look at your audience retention reports for that video and start asking yourself, okay, why do I think this grabbed people's attention when they first came into the video? Why do I think they made it this far in the video? Why do I think they enjoyed this particular part and wanted to watch the next part? And start basically asking yourself those questions about the viewer, right? And then once you come up with all of those things, that's when you can start testing additional content that you publish against those ideas and theories that you come up with so that you can use that information to either prove or disprove the theories that you come up with on why people responded. If you prove it, then in that particular case, then you're going to be able to make it repeatable and you'll be able to do it more. But if you disprove it and you're like, okay, well, I think it might be this, and then you test that in a handful of videos and it doesn't get a similar response, then in that particular case, that's going to remove that when you're going to make, okay, well, it's not because of that, because I can't get them to repeat that.
You got some super chats.
Hopefully that helps. Let's see here. iPhone Chris, what's going on, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says, I give to Nick and D $10. I give 5 to D. That's awesome.
Thank you, man.
That's
Appreciate
awesome.
that.
Yep. So I'll get you a coffee, D.
You get more coffee.
Yep. Woo.
How we got coffees today.
How we got here, Genealogy says, do you have a blocked words list for when you are with D in person? Yeah, I do. I've got like this in my phone. I got this big list of words that I'm not allowed to say in his presence. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like our contractual agreement. Like, hey, dude, it's his thing. He's like, hey, if we're going to be hanging out, you have to sign this. And you can't say these words. You can't bring up these things. You can't talk about like YouTube play buttons and stuff like that. Like you just have to, just abide by these rules is kind of his thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny.
Melinda Elliott, thank you for your support for 15 months there too. And Brian, yours for 21. So let's see here. So next up on our...
Is your block words list, is it shameful?
Some of it is.
Like if you were to take it out of context and somebody just found that file on your computer...
Probably. Yeah, it'd probably be like, why are all these words? Why is he collecting these words? That's kind of weird by itself. Yeah. So yeah, probably a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's not too bad though. I mean, there's some bad stuff in there, but I mean that's why you put it in there, right? Because it's bad stuff. Yeah. There's actually, if you Google for it, you can find like default blocked words lists that people do have publicly available.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. We were talking about it earlier. Yeah, to where it can give you just kind of a starting point, and it has like all the racial stuff in there and like all the political stuff in there and all the like, you know,
Oh, that's good.
Like
good.
all of those types of things, all the profanity, you know,
all the profanity,
all the stuff. A lot of the profanity, and you know, and a lot of those things that, you know, people are sensitive to.
Good. Yeah, go look that up then.
Yep. Trying to learn bikes. They do DIY motorcycle maintenance content. The goal of the channel says I create videos for the challenge. Question is, could I create an image poll with a link and thumbnail to one of my underperforming videos and ask the community to comment back to me on why they think the video is not getting views? Is this a bad idea, or it might be a good way of breathing life into a video that may have been abandoned early by YouTube? Know that I've retitled and rethumbnailed the video after the first 30 days of it being live. So here's the thing, like YouTube doesn't abandon the content. The reason that YouTube slows down or stops the impressions on a video is because the people that they're showing the content to, they're not responding to it. So it's not necessarily that they're not responding to it at a competitive level. So it's not necessarily that YouTube is like, you know, hey, this, you know, we're just going to stop this video. It's important to look at YouTube like it's a mirror of your audience, right? So like if people are, you know, really enjoying the content, then YouTube's just going to keep showing it to people until it hits that threshold of people that aren't enjoying it at a competitive level, and then that's when it'll slow down. And then you have it to where, you know, in some cases you'll publish a video and that core group of people that, you know, should enjoy it, they don't enjoy it. And then any other test groups, they don't enjoy it that much, and the video just dies. So you have that. So because of that, what you're saying is good for sending people into content that is known to perform, but I wouldn't necessarily do that with videos that have been proven to not perform. And the reason for that is because you're sending people into content that they're probably not going to like because the video, you know, didn't do well. Try it. I mean, it's free to post in your community tab. So you can absolutely do that. But one thing to think about if you are going to be doing that though, is how can I take the content that people have really enjoyed and just amplify that, right? Because I know that people have enjoyed it, and I know that every viewer that interacts with my channel isn't watching every piece of content that I publish. So because of that, let me share this in my community feed. Just make the note, hey, everybody seemed to really enjoy this video. If you haven't seen it yet, you might want to check it out. And by doing that, then you're sending people into content that is already proven to perform and already create a positive experience for the people that are already interacting with your content. Oh, so your Chad says, I disagree on this point. I think YouTube has a faucet-like control over each video. They turn on the views and then they turn it off. No, that's not the case. I want you to think about the scale of YouTube. So over 500 hours of content.
I've seen the faucet.
Yeah. I've seen the button.
I've seen the levers.
Right. But over 500 hours, and this is like old information. Like this is just the stuff that YouTube, you know, has put out, and they haven't really updated it. But like years ago, it was over 500 hours of content uploaded to YouTube every minute. That was before Shorts hit.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is, and that was before Shorts. So basically, we have that on long form content, which we also have even more creators that are going out, and then you have the Shorts content as well. So you can prove it if you go into your videos that do well and your videos that do not. You can go in and you can prove through the reflection. The data is the reflection of how people responded to it. You can go in there and prove why videos did or did not do well.
A good place to start would be your impressions. If you're still getting impressions, the faucet's not turned off.
Right.
They're just, your video is just in front of an audience who isn't responding to whatever it is that you've made.
Right.
You know, it could be the overall packaging, whatever. People don't click for lots of different reasons. Right. But as long as you're getting impressions, YouTube is showing your video to people.
Right. Right. They're trying.
They're trying.
Yeah. The system is trying.
They're trying. It might not be matching with the right audience, but they're trying to put it in front of people.
Yep. So David Matney, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing great. Says, can you have a blocked words list on live stream chat on Streamyard? So basically, if you have the blocked words list, what happens is if somebody says something in your YouTube chat, then it's also going to be held for review there. And sometimes they'll get through and they'll show up in Streamyard, but usually it'll stop before it actually gets to Streamyard. But sometimes they will pop up over there and you will see them there. But a lot of times, as long as you have the words that you need in that list, a lot of times it'll cut down on that considerably.
So Chris is talking about, or sorry, Chad is talking about shorts. He thinks shorts are turned on and off. Shorts seem to have a shelf life in general, and it seems to be that way across the board for, even if it's like Reels or TikTok. There's so many videos being uploaded, short form content being uploaded to these platforms. I don't know how they can possibly give all the shorts a fair chance, because they don't even populate the entire platform.
Right. So
you know
here's what you want to think about when it comes to shorts is like broad audience. So like if,
Very broad,
with shorts, because it's kind of like TikTok where they're just, they're just like popping up in front of a bunch of people
They're
that might not have
throwing a ton of stuff up on the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right. So so as always, just like every other, format, the cream rises to the top. Right.
Yeah.
So usually that cream that's at the top is usually really broad stuff, like entertainment content, pranks, like that kind of stuff, because the majority of people can that get presented that type of content can enjoy it. Compared to like me talking about content creators.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you
I put a break on it as soon as I say, if you're a content creator, I nail it in terms of who that content is for, but then I immediately make that not broadly accessible. Right. Or not broadly interesting to a lot of people.
If you go to your homepage and you look at the short shelf, it's most likely going to be mixed between viral shorts with millions of views or hundreds and thousands of views, mixed in with channels that you're already interested in. And the ones, I mean, you're competing against
Mr. Beast.
You're competing against with
Zach
shorts.
King. Right.
Yeah, you're competing against very high performing shorts. So if your shorts are not competitive in that market, you're going to have a limited amount of time that YouTube is even going to test your shorts, because it has proven winners.
Right.
Why would YouTube continue to show shorts that are not winners? Right. Like, okay, let's just say you got 10,000 views or 5,000 views or something like that. But here's all these other shorts that are consistently getting hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views consistently. It's in YouTube's best interest to put the higher performing shorts in front of the viewer.
And by performing, meaning in terms of how people respond to it.
Right, and how people, So you might have a short that for your own personal best, it's the best, like, wow, this is the best short I've ever done.
Right.
But in the scope of shorts, it still might not be a very good short.
Right.
Like I've had video or shorts where I thought were great, but they teetered out at like 6,000 views.
Right.
I'm like, that's fantastic.
Right.
And all the metrics are there.
Right.
100% watch time, everything is there, but it's still not competitive in the grand scheme of all the other shorts out there, just getting hundreds of thousands.
Right.
And topically, it matters topically. Chad, I think you're a music channel. You're depending on what you're doing with your shorts, you're just not going to reach that broad audience.
Yeah.
And you're competing with channels that are.
Right.
So unfortunately, because there's limited space for shorts, there's limited eyeballs on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, man, like the faster that you can remove that perception, the more you're going to put the spotlight on yourself and start digging in and start being like, okay, well, if my videos are underperforming and if there's not, if bots aren't hitting this button, then that means it's on me. So because of that, if I'm doing music content and I'm putting that music content into shorts, instead of it just being me like playing the guitar, maybe I need to do something like really extreme, like, either one playing, interesting covers of like very popular songs, or, doing something that's nearly impossible to play, or, something like that. But it needs to be spectacular for a large amount of people if you want it to get past that, that initial, threshold that you might be getting stopped at.
So I'm just looking
it's hard though.
So it's hard. I just went to YouTube, look at my homepage, and I'm looking at the first short shelf on my PC here.
Yep.
Okay, and it's not all Mr. Beast content, right? So
it's catered to to your interest a bit, but it's also
catered to
random.
interest. But they also test very high performing videos there. So my shorts, I've got 5 that are showing here. The first one is a guy named Uncle Jack. He's he's over 100 years old, and he just does like interesting wisdom type stuff. 8,000 views. Okay, but he's sitting next to a short that's got 21 million views, $100 if you guessed our age, sitting next to another short with 1.5 million views, memes I found on the internet, sitting next to another short with 254,000 views with simple automatic gate latches, sitting next to another one with 1.8 million views, the oldest trick in the book, when your husband asks you for a towel. So out of these shorts, you've got Uncle Jack, who has a fantastic channel, and I think it's great, but he's got 8,000 views. Well, guess what? If that short doesn't start running really fast, Why would they keep showing it?
Right.
Why would they keep showing it, especially when they show these? If I'm clicking on the latch, if people go, yeah, the latch, or I'm watching the $100 if you guess their age, right? YouTube is incentivized to show people the stuff that they're going to click on and watch.
Right. And one of the things too, just to be clear, like when we talk about like broad audience, like things like that, like the, $100, what is it?
It's a broad audience.
$100 for what? What is it?
To guess our age.
Yeah, to guess
That's
our
a
age.
broad audience.
That particular one, literally anybody can click on that. A 12-year-old can click on that, or my mom can click on that and sit there and enjoy that content. Right.
Versus, and I don't know if you've done this video, I'm just pulling this out because this is music, versus watch me play Master of Puppets on a guitar. Right. Who's that? I mean,
some people will be interested in that.
People
There's
will.
a large amount of people that would be interested in that. It's just not as competitive with, with bigger stuff.
Right. How to tune your guitar by ear.
Right.
Okay. That's gonna be attractive to a certain audience.
Right. It's kind of like my creator thing in terms of like, you, as soon as it's that, then it's like, okay, well, the qualifier for this is one, they have to be a guitar player. Two, they have to want to be able to tune by ear.
Right.
And then three, they have to actually want to sit there and watch a video on how to do it.
Right. Versus a 6-year-old who could play Master of Puppets.
Right.
That would be cool.
That's interesting. Then it's like,
now
oh my
it becomes
gosh, is
interesting.
he going to pull this off?
Right. Playing Master of Puppets on a piano at an airport and I'm 6 years old.
Right.
People are going to watch that. That's a broad audience.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Brian G. Johnson in the house, author of Tube Ritual Volume 1. I think he might even have another one of these coming out at some time in the future. I don't know. I'm just trying to encourage him there. But Tube Ritual Volume 1 help you get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, your first 5,000. He's in the chat right now. Brian G., hope you are doing amazing, my friend. Glad to see you in here.
Dude, I'm thinking Brian is on Adderall or something.
What?
He every time
He's
I open
cranking out videos.
He is just cranking. Every time I open up
He's
YouTube
focused.
now, every time it's Adderall, isn't it?
Yep.
Come on.
He's focused.
Every time I open up YouTube, it's like Brian G. Johnson uploaded 1 hour ago.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what time I open YouTube.
You're synced up with this upload schedule.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you're like, Brian G. again?
Again?
Oh my gosh.
Uploaded 1 hour ago? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah.
So our next question here is Us Plus Dad. Us Plus Dad uploads every other day. They've been on YouTube for less than a year. They do Roblox role play content. The goal of the channel is to create an interactive Roblox community. The question is, hey Nick, what has your stance on shorts changed? I know you said that you were going all in on lives, videos, and shorts to push 1 million subs, but you haven't posted a short in 7 months. Just curious your view on them now. Thanks for all that you do. I'm actually working on a 90-day series for YouTube Shorts. They should start being published. We're in February right now, mid-March. They'll start getting published. So keep an eye out for those. Next up, we've got Home Rapid Repair. Been on YouTube for a year or more. Home improvement content. The goal of the channel is to become a trusted source for home improvement topics. The question is, okay, at 4,000 subs, I'm starting to see trends on what topics are performing better than others. So the question is, should I keep revisiting that well and keep redoing those types of video topics? So what you want to do is, as you are publishing content to your YouTube channel, you want to keep in mind that YouTube is showing your content to certain groups of people that are interested in certain things. So when you see that you have certain topics performing better, then you want to make sure that that if you can make additional content around those particular topics, that you add those to your content strategy. It doesn't mean that you always have to, just like make the same video about how to set up your iPhone 100 times. It's more about or in your case, you're doing home improvement, like how to install a doorknob, 100 times. It's more about, okay, if somebody is enjoying this content, what can I also make that they would also be likely to enjoy? Because I'm proving through paying attention to what's going on my channel, I'm proving that people are responding to these types of things from me. So because of that, if they're responding to these types of content, one, can I give them any more of that? If so, then I'm going to add that to my content strategy and make sure that I'm putting those in there on a regular basis. But in addition to that, what else can I give them that would also be in alignment with the things that I'm seeing proof that they are interested in from me? And then start making some of that content. And through those experiments, that's where you're going to find some things that might do better, some things that might do as well. And you might also find some things that they just do not want for you also. But the idea is to use the information of identifying the things that they do respond to make sure that you are giving them that, but then also looking for things that are in alignment with that based on their interests.
Got a super chat.
For Dr. Zach, what's going on, dude? Hope you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you in here.
Zach, how you doing, man?
So I'm thinking about doing some complications of shoe teardown spanning 20 to 30 minutes. How many mid-rolls is appropriate? I only upload 5 to 12 minutes usually, and I don't want to go overboard. Thanks, guys. So when it comes to mid-rolls, keep in mind that YouTube does have the tolerance, for that on each, individual viewer in terms of, when they get shown the ads. So you can put them in manually and do it that way, or you can let YouTube do it based on what it is that they know about the viewer and how the viewer typically responds to ads. But one thing that I want you to think about is that when you are publishing your videos and you are putting mid-rolls in there, I'm not sure, because I know that you're, doing this professionally now. So I'm not sure if you also have other things that you offer in your videos. Like, for example, if you have, your own products that you're sending people into, or affiliate things you're sending people into, or anything like that. But when it comes to mid-rolls, even though not everybody's going to see them, and yes, it will add to your bottom line in terms of ad revenue, just make sure that you're not putting mid-rolls in there that would interrupt people getting to that thing that might actually make you, real money in comparison to, the money that you might get off of, the additional mid-roll ads. But when it comes to like how many to put in a 20 to 30 minute video, if it was me, I would just turn on YouTube's option to have them put them in there, unless there's critical points that people need to get through before they see them. Like, let's say, for example, like it's really important to make sure that people get to at least this part in the video before they get interrupted. Then in that particular case, having full control over it and then dropping one after that point, and then spreading out a few from there. But the way to think about this is, one, not every viewer is going to see every mid-roll. And then two is that when you do put those in there, people will still, come back to the videos and, all that. So it's not going to be that big of a deal, but you do want to respect the viewer experience. So, everybody's going to tune out of the video if you're putting one like, all the time. And if YouTube were to show it to them all the time, then people would, leave the video at scale. But YouTube is sensitive to that because their system, they also want to keep, people on the platform while balancing that with making sure they're showing ads. So because of that, just try to put, enough in there to make it comfortable for your viewers. If you're going to do it manually, start them after that point. If you do have content that builds up to a particular point that they need to see before the rest of the information, start it after that so you can make sure you get them interested and wanting to watch the video if they do, get an ad. So you don't have them catch the ad and then be like, I wasn't enjoying that video anyway, and then leave. Like, make sure you can get them to, through that hook part of your, video, and then start dropping them from there. But I wouldn't put too many though. Like, I wouldn't overdo it. Like maybe, one every 5 minutes or something like that. And even that, it's a little bit excessive if you're focused on the viewer experience. But, if you want to make that extra, ad money, then definitely get those in there.
Get that money.
Get that money.
Get that paper.
Yep. Okay, so next up on our list here, we've got Learn Spanish World. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing great. Says, apologies for the slight detour from our main topic of discussion, but I was curious about the name of your first channel. I've been wanting to check it out, but I lost the name. Thanks. It's
Don't tell him.
So next question. No, it's called All Our Questions.
I was going to have you say it in Spanish.
I don't know it in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so All Our Questions is what it is. And yeah, you can go check that out. All kinds of fun stuff over there. Love that content.
Yeah, that's a cool channel.
It is.
It's a really cool channel.
It's the funnest content. I had the most fun making that content.
Really?
Oh, God, I loved it. My original plan was, because that's where I kind of caught the bug on YouTube, right? My original plan was come back to this channel, start doing like affiliate stuff, things like that, collecting emails, all those types of things, make some money so that I could, go full time and all that stuff. And then as soon as I was there, then I would go back to All Our Questions and continue making content over there while also doing content over here and doing that whole thing. But I got to this point to where I was like, you know what? This is a lot of work. So because of that, I'm just going to focus on, I'm just going to focus on one. And that's what I did. I never went back.
Those that are
but
probably
it's still there. I might go back one day.
Those that have probably done really well with shorts.
Yeah.
If they were put together right for shorts.
Yeah, I did some
whatever.
Like clipping and stuff like that for them. Yeah.
How did it work?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, they got, okay views, but nothing spectacular. Yeah. Yeah. I just did 30 days right when that clipping feature came out inside of YouTube. So home rapid repair, I think we just answered this one.
They're telling you how to say it in Spanish. That's great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the channel's got, he said, wow, you had quite a few views. Yeah, the channel's got like 16,000 subscribers on it. Like some of the videos got, serious views on them. Let's see here.
What was the funnest thing you did filming that channel? Because you like traveled with it. And, What what were like? Give me like the
Man,
top
everything
three.
was awesome.
Top three
Like,
highlights with that channel, because you've done
making content in some of the places was cool because I can go and look at that content.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just kind of that memory of like, oh yeah, that was cool. Like so I have that. So that part was cool. In addition to that, I liked the side.
Here's how colonoscopy works.
Right.
Remember that video?
Yeah, I didn't publish that one, but it's like the idea of like having to take some of the things that I was talking about on that channel. It was really complex, so it was fun taking those ideas and trying to understand them enough to condense them down into like bite-sized content that would explain it to others. I really liked that part, and then it also allowed me to just kind of do some fun creative stuff with some of it as well. So it was good on the expression side too. But I learned so much stuff while making that. Not like not just YouTube stuff, but like just stuff about the world and how stuff works.
Prior to you working on that channel, I used to look at you. And I mean, we all did. We all the friends and everything, mom and the whole family kind of
like the Village Idiot.
Yeah, you were kind of like the Village Idiot, but then you did that channel, and we were like, whoa,
wow, yeah,
he knows kung fu.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was, we never looked at you the same after that.
Yep. Now I'm the Village Idiot that can also make a YouTube video.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Like, wow, wow, I can't believe you figured out how to use YouTube.
Wow, he can turn a camera on.
Wow.
Holy cow. Wow, wow. Give this guy a pat on the back.
Yeah, we were going to put you in a home.
Yeah. So, Cathay Fit says Las Preguntas
de Todos.
de Todos. Yep.
Todos.
Nice.
De Todos.
Love it. Thank you.
Nice.
So home rapid repair is our next question. They upload one time per week or more. They do home improvement content.
Biting me.
The goal of the channel is to become a trusted source for home improvement topics.
Are you getting bitten by something?
The question is,
I'll be back.
Man, this is gonna be a tough one for repurposing. Let me start this one over again. So like I'm sitting there just trying to get through it. Dee's like, hey, here's some wrenches. So home rapid repair. The question is, at 4,000 subs, I'm starting to see the trends of what topics. Oh, we did that one already. Okay. Excuse me.
I think there's an ant in my shirt or something.
Oh, really? Yeah. Tarantula is the next question. The type of channel is tarantulas and exotic pets. The goal of the channel is to share and gather knowledge and experience about exotic pets. The question is it worth it to create a community via a Facebook group? I saw that a lot of people are sending me pictures of their pets, and it would be nice to have a place where everyone can see them. What about moderating a group like that? Okay. So when it comes to setting up a Facebook group or any type of community, absolutely it will require moderation. That group could do very well, and if that group does well, then things can be kind of difficult to manage if you're not wanting to spend tons of time on it. But if you're into that and you're like, yeah, I would love to just log into my Facebook group every day and have those conversations there and just be sharing pictures back and forth and stuff, absolutely you can do that. And one of the cool things is when you have that group, if they're all people that are, into tarantulas and other exotic pets, then when you do make videos about those, you can also share them into those groups. So Brian G. Johnson does this. He has the group Tube Ritual. And in that group, because it's all content creators in there, when he publishes a video, he'll share it in there sometimes. And with that, some people will go over there and watch that video, but it's just an additional traffic source, essentially. So in addition to YouTube recommending his content and, anything else, he also has that group. And when he posts in there, then, some people will go over there and watch that too. And if you do start doing that, one thing that you can do, which is also an important thing to make sure that you are paying attention to, is if you go into your traffic sources report for your content or your channel as a whole, either one. But if you go into your traffic sources report and you look into external, let's say you have a Facebook group and you're sharing content there, what you can do is you can click into external and then it'll show Facebook. And then there you can go and look and say, okay, when I'm sharing it in these groups, are they watching for any significant amount of time? If they're hitting and bouncing, then in that case, you don't want to share them there because people aren't responding. But if they're hitting it and they're still watching it for, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, or however long, the video is, or half of the video or whatever, then in that case, it's like, yes, this is a great place to share because people are coming in, they're enjoying the content. So because of that, just make sure that you're tracking it. And as long as people keep responding there, then you can actually use that group to also, bring more attention to your videos as well. Yeah, so Brian, he dropped his feedback in here real quick. He says, indeed, he does share in the groups. He says, but typically it doesn't drive as many views as many creators hope / wish for. Yeah, like, part of that when you're on social media, just in general, if somebody's on Twitter, they're on Twitter because they want to be on Twitter. If somebody's on Facebook, they're on Facebook because they want to be there. If they're on YouTube, they want to be there. So, when you, like, it's hard to get people to transfer, but some people will, right? Like the people that are most engaged in what it is that you're doing, they will, they'll transfer over if the content is something that they're interested in. Great question, though. Next up on our list here. So you falling apart over there? You like doing okay? You getting eaten alive? Like what's going on?
You know what it is? I think there could have been like an ant in my shirt or a little spider or something. Yeah, I've got like these little, like I felt something. I don't know. I took the shirt off and shook it and like, I don't know. I've got, look, well, here's one right there. Look at that.
Well, that's like a welt.
Yeah.
Holy cow, they got you good.
Yeah. I got a couple of, I'm like freaking out over here.
Maybe it's like a rust thing from the, maybe you have a rust allergy.
I don't know. Maybe
you're gonna break out and go into hives. Your face is gonna start swelling. I keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
Make sure your face doesn't start
if
swelling
I
or
just
something.
start screaming and I run out of here, that means it's a spider.
Like a goat. Like those like
the screaming goats.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. Okay. If I just start screaming and running, that means it's a large spider.
Okay.
Little spider won't bother me. It's like a large, really large spider.
So if you scream and run that way, it's a large spider. If you scream and run this way, what is it?
If it's that way, it means I'm going to jump off the balcony.
Right, that's what I mean. Like how big does it have to be to go out that way?
It means I'm not. That means nobody's. That means nobody's getting out of this room alive. If you see me run that way,
love it. So Cafe Arts is our next question. The type of channel is art, manga art, making, and writing. The goal of the channel is sharing my journey, but in the future, build an audience who like my creations. And the question is Streamyard questions. I sometimes draw on my tablet, and I want to be on camera on my computer. How can I show my screen or tablet on a mobile? So one thing that you can do is if you do have a capture card of some kind, if you have like a USB...
no, they do it just on a tablet.
Oh, they're only doing it on a tablet?
Yeah.
Hold on. I sometimes draw on my tablet, and I want to come on my computer.
Oh.
Yeah, so it seems like drawing on the tablet, but wants to get it into the computer so they can use it in StreamYard.
You need a dongle.
So one, you need a dongle to make sure you can connect it to the computer, but you also need a way to actually read it. So with that dongle would actually HDMI out into something. So you need to...
HDMI.
Yeah, so you need to be able to import that, though. So they would need some type of like ATEM or some type of cam link or something like that to feed it into. Because they would also have a camera. So if it's like a USB webcam, then no big deal because that doesn't require a capture card. Yeah. But the iPad would for the iPad coming in. Or or tablet, whatever it is. So yeah, you can do that, but you're probably going to need some extra things, and it also depends on the camera. So for example, you can get a cam link, for example, for like $100 or $120, I think they are for the new ones. But your like an ATEM Mini, that's like $300, and with that you can plug like a HDMI from a camera into it. You can plug in an iPad. You can plug in your phone if you want to. All kinds of really cool stuff that you can do there. But at the end of the day, you need some type of, as Doug mentions here, you need some type of capture, HDMI capture device in order to make that happen.
Yeah. So you can.
Hold on, D's working on it right now. So to be continued, I think, while he's coming up with that over there.
I don't have the dongle at hand that you need to plug into your tablet, but you can buy a very inexpensive, and people, these are hit and miss. They're like $20. These cheap little HDMI video captures. This one is 1080, which is fine for sharing your screen probably. It's just an HDMI. When I was in Mexico, I use this all the time.
Nice.
I've got two of them.
Your driver, Mike, what's going on, dude? Hope you're doing great.
Yeah. So basically you would have the dongle going into your tablet, then you would have an HDMI cable going into something like this that plugs in USB to your cable.
Other things you can do, like I'm not sure, like, budget and things like that, which matters.
Computer, like if you got an iPad and a Mac, it's going to change too. So
yeah, I think you can actually pull it directly in on a Mac
through QuickTime. Yeah. You can you can capture it through QuickTime if you.
What do you do that through AirPlay?
I think QuickTime has a solution for it.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got some options there. Neil, Urban Van Life, what's going on, dude? Hope you're doing great.
Yeah.
He says it's iPad Pro, so only has USB-C. Yeah, with that, though, can get a dongle. Yeah, can get a dongle for the HDMI
You can get USB-C to HDMI, and then the HDMI can plug into something like this. Now, you can go cheap with these, or you can get like a 4K version from Elgato. Or something like that.
Yep. Gardening with Bear Brown is our next question. They do gardening content. The goal of the channel is to teach people how to grow food and be a full-time creator in 4 years.
Here it is. Doug says, if you have a Mac, you can do it with your iPad cable using QuickTime to capture the iPad.
Boom.
So just a standard USB-C to the computer and then use QuickTime.
Boom.
If it's a Mac.
Love it.
Yeah.
So Gardening with Bear Brown uploads 1 time per week or more. They do gardening content. The goal is to teach people how to grow food and be a full-time creator in 4 years. The question is, I heard part of the stream yesterday. How long does it take to change one of your videos to another language? Do you plan to do many of your videos? I'm just trying to decide if I want to try it and when I have the option. So for me, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my videos that have performed well, like the ones that have performed well recently, and the ones that I think that if a new content creator were to see these, regardless of, where they're seeing them at, that they'd respond to them, and I would use the people that have already responded to find that. And I'm going to add the dubs to all of those. And the reason that I'm doing those first instead of just doing it on like a new video is because those are proven performers. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting it out there with stuff that people have already responded well to. And with that, I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to do all 15 languages or not. I'll probably start with 5 to 10 and then start building onto it, from there based on the response that I see. In terms of how long does it take to change it? So when you drop your link into that service, into dittodubbing.com, when you drop your link into that, it will start right away. And then they're going to send you an email once it's all been ingested. And then it's going to ask you to verify it. So when you verify it, basically it's saying that, hey, we've got this process, so just confirm that you want this, done. And then you click on that, and then you can go do whatever you want, and you can come back in like a few hours, and then you're going to have, all of the different languages that you chose. All of those are going to be ready for you to download and then add them to your videos. When it comes to adding them to your videos, what I recommend, what I'm doing with the ones that I'm doing, is I'm saving the audio file into a folder that is named the same thing the video is. And then that way it just makes it really easy. So when I go to upload the files, I'll start it with the actual language, and then by default their system will give you the title of the video at the end of it. So basically what I'll do is I'll just type in the language as I'm downloading it, and then I'll put it in that folder, and then from there when I go to add it to the video, then I'll be clicking on into that folder and then just uploading them one by one from there.
I'm a whole fixer. That's what I do.
Yep. What happened? What was the
I don't know why. Probably because I was messing with this earlier, but there's just a little gap over there between the two, like underneath where the phone matches, and it was just like showing the blue light. Oh, okay. And it was just really distracting. Oh, okay. People were talking about it.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Little black gaff tape took care of it.
Interesting.
Yep.
So next up on our list here, we've got P&B's Wide World of Ports. Love the play on words there. They do a cruising travel vlog. The goal of the channel is to show how much fun a cruise vacation can be and eventually be monetized. Question: I used the Kinemaster editing app and got a false copyright claim on a track from the Kinemaster library. After disputing it, it was upheld, but after appealing it, it was finally dropped. This is a song that I'd used in all of my long-form videos. The similar song that claimed a copyright obviously copied the Kinemaster song. My question is, if I continue to use the Kinemaster song, will it likely continue to be flagged by YouTube bots as copyrighted? D, I know that you have very strong opinions on the apps and music, so let her rip.
Kinemaster is a great app. I made a video in the middle, like when the world shut down, probably a few months into it, telling people, stop using the music that comes inside of the video editing apps. It's copyright free, it's royalty free, you can use the music. Stop using that music, find another place to get your music, because a lot of there's licensing issues. Some of the artists that have given some of the apps tracks have changed their licensing. So I would say this, and I don't know about your specific track, but if you've had one copyright problem on YouTube, there's a high probability you're going to continue to have problems. And in theory, if they want to, they can go back across your entire library for every song you've ever used or every video you've ever used that song on. And you can have copyright problems there. And they don't have to release that. They can uphold that. So I would say get your music from someplace else. Yep. Don't use the music that comes inside of the apps, even if they say you can use it. Yep. I got a whole video on it on my channel. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Go check out that video. Jason, Painfully Honest Tech in the house. What's going on, dude? Hope you are doing great. Nice to see you in here.
Yep. Gaff tape fixes everything. It does. It really does.
Hey, and really quick, while we're here, I'm not sure how many people here are from the UK. If you are from the UK, just say UK in the chat. The reason I'm asking this is because in May, at the end of May, I'm going to be speaking at a conference in the UK. And that conference is the first one like this over there. So we got some UK in the house. Okay, love it. So let's see here. So this is happening on May 23rd in Birmingham, UK. But it's a small conference, and basically this is going to be the first one. But I'm going to be presenting there. There's a nice handful of other successful content creators and marketers and stuff like that. They're going to be presenting there too. But it's all around using video, and mine is going to be about monetization. So if you are in the UK. If you want to meet up, if you want to, learn at that particular event.
Have some tea.
Yep, have some tea. Then in that case, just go to tubefest.live and you'll see the information there. But I encourage you to come and hang out because it's going to be a good time. And it's just one day. So if you have that day that you can spare, then come over and hang out. Yeah, it's far from me too. I'm in Thailand, but I'm heading over there just to support it because it's new, and I know Matt.
The UK is not new.
No, the conference is new.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know Matt, who's the guy that's running the conference. So because
you're
of that,
all our questions guy now. Yeah. I just wanted to let you know the UK is not new.
Right. Hey, thank you.
Right.
Thanks.
Just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Just making that clear. Evil Empire Gaming says all incorrect. I still got copyright. Yeah. Listen. Here's the thing.
He followed that up there.
Okay, content ID on YouTube it's a minefield. Just be careful when you're using music.
Let's see here. So next up on the list, we got Magic Mitch. Love the channel name.
Are you gonna have tea over there?
If that's a thing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those of you in the UK, water.
I'll probably have coffee would probably be the thing I would prefer, but I'm down for tea.
Tea.
Just so I can be like, oh yeah, let me get into the culture a little bit.
Yeah. For those of you in the UK, what are 3 things that he absolutely needs to do while he's there? Like drink tea, or I don't know, visit someplace.
Yeah, I'll be hanging out with Danielle too. So I'm sure she's well versed in UK.
Yeah.
Shark Scrapper says, am I going to translate my presentation from American to English? Since I'm going to be over in the UK. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's right. You're going over there where people speak proper English.
Proper, yeah.
They're going to be like, off the stage, hillbilly.
Right. Hey, did you bring your... Yeah, I can't. I'm not even going to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Who let the Yank in here?
Right. Oh, love it. All right, so here we go. So
okay, I don't know what this means, but this sounds... okay, go to Kensington Place and have a tea at the Orangery.
Okay.
That's it.
We'll just take that as an okay.
Yeah.
I'll throw that into Google Translate after the stream and try to figure out what that means.
Yes.
So Seal of Snipes, thanks for the super chat, says, question, is Ditto dubbing the same thing as multi-language tool that creators have access to? Also, will this multi-language tool be a paid feature like Ditto dubbing? Regardless to say I'm confused. Okay, so let me show you real quick. So what happened, or what's in the process of happening, is YouTube is giving channels a language section. So with this particular language section, it used to just be subtitles. And the reason it was subtitles before is because there you could go and you could translate your subtitles. You could also translate like your titles and your descriptions, all that stuff. But now they've added the audio dubbing. So with this particular feature, what it does is it's creating the audio for you from your videos. And then you're going to be able to go into this particular area, and then you're going to translate the other stuff anyway, in terms of your captions and your title and all that. But when it comes to the dubbing, then you would just upload that dub right here into this area. And then how that works is, when, let's say that I was consuming YouTube in Spanish. Well, if your video gets presented to me and then the title itself is in Spanish, and then I click on that because it's something, of interest to me, then in that particular case, by default, because I'm watching content in Spanish, I'm going to hear the Spanish audio. So I'm not going to hear, if you speak in English in your videos, I'm not going to hear that version. It's going to default me to Spanish. So it's going to be a seamless experience. It already is a seamless experience for the people that are, doing this currently or consuming content that way currently. But basically, as soon as they go into the video, they're getting it in their native language, so they can just sit back and enjoy the content. So it's really cool thing. And what's going to be interesting currently, Dome House says that it's only available to people that are established. So currently, I'm not sure exactly who has it, but I do know some other people that have it, and they are also established channels. But basically, it's testing right now, and then this is going to be rolling out to everybody. So because of that, this is definitely something that that everybody's going to have access to. And Renee Ritchie, YouTube's creator liaison, is also here right now. He says, "Is it apparent enough to you that you have multi-language audio on your account?" Oh, asking me. So I saw it, and with it, just to pull it up on screen again. So with me, when I saw the language option, so I was used to seeing subtitles, and then I was like, "Oh, language, let's click on that." And then I clicked on that and went in there. It wasn't blatantly obvious for me. It's just that I happened to notice the difference. So because of that, I would say that it wasn't crystal clear outside of going in and just adding some meta descriptions and that stuff. But in terms of it being like, hey, you now have this available on your channel, that I didn't get any notification for it or any other alert that I had it available. So it would definitely be, I think, for other creators, I think it would without question be helpful if there was some type of clear, like, hey, congratulations, now you have this, right? So then that way it makes it like a thing, not just like, oh, hey, we introduced this new feature, but like, hey, congratulations, you have this now. Because I think as people are talking about this more, as you're rolling it out more, I think people are going to be waiting for it. They're going to be like, oh gosh, I can't wait until I get this feature. Yeah. So dropping it as like a, hey, congratulations, now you have it. Then it's like, sweet, and it becomes, in my opinion, that just feels better than like, now we have this new feature that you can use, right? So having some type of notification like that, I think would be great.
Did you hear that?
What? No, I didn't hear anything. What'd you hear? What is it? What's going on?
You don't hear that?
Nope. I hear a fan. That's what I hear.
Somebody's like raging.
Oh, he says it's incredibly resource intense right now. So we're testing with people who have the resources. We're hoping to make it more accessible to everyone later this year. Nice. Later this year. That's fantastic. Yes, that's a good timeline. So in that particular case, that's a win.
Yeah, we've got a party upstairs.
Do we? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even hear it.
Yeah. Well, I stopped, but as soon as I say, can you hear? That's how it works.
Yeah.
You hear that, and then they stop.
They're like, shh. So next up on the and thanks for mentioning that everybody should have it, later this year, because then that gives me, because I've gotten that question a lot since yesterday. So now I have like a clear thing that I can let people know as that's coming out. So next up, we've got Jay's Place. Jay's Place uploads when they have time. They do random stuff on the channel. The goal of the channel is to get subscribers. And the question is, how can I make and sell merch? So when it comes to making and selling merch, Oriental Pearl, thank you. Glad that you're enjoying the content. She's in Japan.
Oh.
Oriental Pearl, yeah. So practically neighbors, because we're in Thailand.
Where are you at
practically
in Japan?
Neighbors.
We were in Japan a couple months ago.
I'm actually going here next month.
Are you?
Yep. So
what part are you going to?
Tokyo.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You meeting somebody over there?
Taking Fong over there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Oh, okay.
Yep. So the question is, how can I make and sell merch? So when it comes to making merch, you can get all kinds of like apps to where you can, make designs on your phone. You can use sources like Canva where you can design stuff in there. Technically, TubeSpanner also has like a design tool in that if you're a TubeSpanner user already. There's tons of graphic resources out there. So basically step one is you need to make a design. That design needs to be on a transparent background so that you can export it as a PNG. And then there's just the focus on the design itself. So let's say, for example, unless you want the background to be part of the design, but if you make the background part of the design, then what's going to happen is you're going to get like a square behind the actual design. So you got to make sure that it's transparent. And then you go to spreadshop.com or another service like them, and you upload the design there, and then you let their system know, okay, I want it on coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, you know, whatever. And then you can pick the colors and all of those things. And then from there, you can, for free, create a store within Spreadshop or the other services. And when you create that store, then you can grab a link from that, and then you put it down in your description. Once you cross the threshold for it, then you can actually connect your YouTube account to Spreadshop. And I think there's a couple other services that they connect to also. I think Teespring might be one. But basically, you connect your YouTube account to those, and then that way they show up underneath your videos too, if you choose that particular option. But basically, creating them and getting it all set up and getting it ready to roll, all of that is free for you. Bill Dubé, what's going on, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says new program, one take. Will Morpheface 2 should upload to the same or open other channels? New program, one take. Will Morpheface 2 should I upload the same or open other channels? Do you understand that? I don't fully understand the question, Bill.
One take.
But if you are like, here's what you want to think about.
Face.
Is one,
here to see if I can figure
if the content that I'm publishing to the channel, if I'm targeting a very specific type of viewer, this new content, will it make sense to them? In terms of like morphing faces and stuff like that, I would only use, I mean, be creative, do whatever you like. But if it was me, I would only use that in situations to where I was using it for some type of effect. I wouldn't like do a whole video with like a morph face or anything like that. Unless, you know, you are, oh, this is on translation to other languages. Yeah.
Are you talking about onetake.ai?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking at? So I'm looking at a website right now.
That says it'll morph face too and should upload the same or other channels. Yeah, so is basically the in a nutshell, when it comes to deciding on the content upload to your channel, if you should do the same channel or another channel, just think, is this new content going to be relevant to the people that are interacting with my current content? If the answer is yes, is it going to be something that they also care about? Then in that case, uploading to the same channel is fine. But if you're like, this is a little bit outside of what I normally do, then in that case, if you don't think it's a good fit for that, you know, for the target audience that you're trying to reach with the current channel, then in that case, I would do a different channel for it.
He might be talking about how it's changing, because this says when the videos are translated to multiple languages, his face is reanimated to speak the new language.
Oh, okay. So with that, because through the audio dubs, you don't have the option to also upload a video. So it's the audio that they get when they come in. So if in that particular case, if you're doing it, I got it.
New channel.
Yeah, if you're doing it that way, where your mouth is also morphing to it, then in that case you need to start a new channel for that. Because if you publish that to your regular channel, then you're going to be speaking a different language on your main channel, or your current channel. You're going to be speaking a different language there, which you definitely don't want to do in terms of like, hey, here's a entire video in this language, because then your regular viewers won't respond well to that. So absolutely, if you're going to do the mouth morphing thing, then I would put that on a new channel.
Hey, David,
next,
glad you can make it.
Up on our list, we've got
crazy that they can even do that.
Dude, this stuff is out of control.
You know,
we were talking today about Sora. Yeah, we were talking about that today. Yeah, like this AI stuff is just absolute bonkers. Like we have the video dubbing that's happening. We have the audio dubbing that's happening. We have it to where it'll change your mouths when you talk. We've got Sora, which is going to be just incredible for B-roll. I'm so looking forward to getting access to that. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy in terms of all the stuff. How do you think they're going to charge for Sora? You think it's going to charge by the minute, or do you think it's going to be like? I know, like Pika Labs, you pay a monthly fee and you can just crush it out
as much as you want.
Yep. They might have limits on it, but I've never reached them. Same thing with like Runway. With Runway, they actually do, if I remember correctly, they do have a minute count on Runway. So it's kind of like a minute credit type of thing. So there, there is that. But yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be super looking forward to all this stuff. Yeah, Learn Spanish World says AI is going to change everything. We're in the middle of a technological revolution. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and I think we're just scratching the surface of entering the technological revolution. Yeah, I think if we revisit this conversation in like 2 years, maybe even 3, I think everyone's workflow of how they're making content is going to be completely different. Yeah. In terms of like just how we edit videos, how we're translating, probably how we make thumbnails, how we generate title. Like I think probably in a couple years or maybe less, everybody, our workflow is going to be completely different. I'm predicting that. And if we go outside of that, you know how Elon Musk is making robots?
Yeah.
So today I saw that Jeff Bezos and some other people just invested into OpenAI.
Hey, Nikki.
And OpenAI is also going to start making robots.
Are they?
Yep. So now we're going to have, just like they're competing with that whole, like, hey, who can get our rockets into space thing. Now they're also going to be competing with, like, hey, let's get our robots out there and, do that whole thing.
So we were.
So yeah, like it's super fun. Like I'm so excited for the future and just like slowly watching this stuff roll out, because as it rolls out, it gets normal. We were talking about that earlier.
We had this conversation earlier
so
today.
like when all this stuff first hit, right? You have like these AI videos, and it's like, oh my gosh, it can do this and do this, and now it's like, oh well, hey, that's probably AI, and you're just kind of used to it now. You're used to seeing it. So like as this stuff gets more intense, it's going to be really really interesting.
So Renee brings up a point. So Renee says it could give every creator the capacity of Industrial Lights and Magic or Weta Workshop. So it's like a professional Hollywood level. Yeah. So the smartphone and access from the phone to the internet gave everyone on the planet
a voice
who has access to even a beat up phone,
right? Just
some broken Android phone. As long as you can record something, and as long as you can connect it to the internet or connect it to a computer that can get it up to the internet, it literally gave almost everyone in the world a voice.
Yep.
And now it's going to give everyone the ability to make pretty much anything that they can conceive of.
The best storytellers are going to win in such major ways.
Yeah. If you can dream it, if you can imagine it, and if you can take that, whatever it is that you imagine, and learn how to articulate it in the correct prompt to get AI to create it, you're going to be able to make anything.
Right.
And I think, in addition to B-roll, of course, but I just think for like faceless channels, just help explainers.
Right.
Right. Instead of going to, and I mean, sorry, Shutterstock or whoever's out there, Adobe Stock, whatever. The gig's up, guys.
Right.
A lot of you guys are gonna have, it's gonna be interesting to see how they transition.
Yeah, they'll probably just ingest it all.
Yeah,
they'll be like, all right, we got to hire a bunch of people to just sit there and make these all day.
Yeah. So instead of going to Adobe Stock and saying, okay, I want a picture of a female hand writing in cursive. You could be very specific.
To where then you got to go and like hunt it down.
Right. You got to hunt it down.
No.
800
versions to choose from.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll be able to type in 5-second clip,
Yep.
overhead shot, cinematic,
Yep.
female hand writing in cursive.
This camera, this lens on the camera,
this lens,
this focal length.
This is what she's writing.
Yep.
This is what she's writing,
Yep.
and this is the language she's writing it in.
Yep.
Boom, go.
Yep.
And then you're going to have it.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
that's
it's going to be incredible.
I mean, that's already what they're doing. It's just not open to the public yet.
Yep. Yeah, Renee says regenerate Star Wars sequels as if written by Kazdan and directed by Kirshner, Empire Strikes Back team.
Yeah,
nice.
It's going to get wild.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Okay, we had this conversation earlier today. If you are just getting started and you're at that stage where I'm still trying to figure out how to make my first video, or all this stuff is really overwhelming, you're going to get overwhelmed by AI.
Yeah.
At first.
But as everything goes, though, fortunately, a lot of the AI stuff is pretty easy to use.
It is.
Yeah.
But
unless you get like stable diffusion and things like that.
Don't let it overwhelm you.
Yeah.
Embrace it and understand that this is where it's going, and learn how to use it.
It's all tools, just like all the other tools we use. Yep.
Learn how to use it as a tool. Don't let it overwhelm you and stop you from making anything.
Yep.
Use it as a tool to expand your creativity.
Yep. Absolutely.
But
yeah, like the best storytellers, like they're going to be able to just make amazing stuff. Like, like imagine logging onto YouTube and watching like a full blown sci-fi series.
Yeah,
that's just made, and it looks and sounds and everything about it is just like something that you would watch in the theater, all created by AI. Yeah, like that's right around the corner. Yeah. There's probably people working on it right now, actually. I know, like, sometimes I'll send messages to D because I'm in some of the AI video groups on Reddit or subreddits, and some of the stuff that people are making in there, just like movie trailers and things like that for just concepts that they have, like they're already just making amazing stuff. So yeah, it's crazy.
Prompt: generate D's play button as if it was never replaced.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh my goodness.
Dreambuilder21 says you can talk to AI characters now. Yeah, they have that also in apps, and like it's crazy.
Again, crazy. People thought it was going to take, and I don't know if everyone in here has seen the video examples from Sora that are being posted on. You can follow Sam Altman on Twitter or X to see a lot of the stuff that they're doing. If you haven't seen it yet, some of the video footage is as realistic. I mean, unless you're in there just counting
analyzing
pixels.
it. Yeah,
Like just at a glance, you can no longer tell if it's fake or not. Unless you're in there counting pixels and you're looking for imperfections.
Right.
You're not going to be able to tell.
Yeah.
And then give it
if it was mixed in, like some of their shots, if it was mixed in with regular footage, you would be like, you wouldn't even notice. Yeah.
Yeah. But give it a year, give it 2 years, give it 3 years, and let all of that get integrated into all the tools we currently use. It's going to be one. Hold on, buckle up is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
It's about to get cool, actually.
It is.
I mean, it's already
really
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
But I think just our tool chest for creativity is about to just
it's gonna be nuts.
Go through there. Imagine, and I know we're getting back to the questions.
Yep.
Imagine, okay, there are people in this chat right now that grew up in a world without the internet, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the generations that are coming up who only know AI.
Right.
Imagine the stuff that they're going to
create.
Yeah.
And the ideas that's going to spawn for them.
Right.
For advancement. Yeah.
I mean, it's either going to be incredible or I'm going to be happy to check out.
Right. One of the two. Yeah. Like, it's like, well, hey, looks like it's about that time. You know, I'm old enough.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Skynet or a meteor, whichever one comes first.
Ron says, me, no internet growing up. Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
if you grew up without the internet, type in me in the chat. I'm just kind of curious where we stand here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I remember Jason, his dad, because he worked in tech.
Yeah.
So I remember him showing, what was it called? It was like the first online Prodigy, I think it was.
Prodigy.
Yeah, and like with that you could do online shopping.
Yeah.
And that I was in high school for. So yeah, like it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't like into it though. It was just like, oh, hey, that's neat. You mean there's people like elsewhere that are just posting this stuff and then you're able to like buy it?
Okay. So Nick and I are 4 years apart. So what was the class called? The architecture class. What was it called?
Architectural drafting.
Architectural drafting.
Yep.
So my class going through architectural drafting, it was still done on paper. You came right behind and you guys were on computers.
Yeah, we were learning AutoCAD.
You were learning AutoCAD. So just that little bit
of
it.
We did paper too, though.
Yeah,
but that's part of the skill set.
But we only had paper. That computer hadn't caught up yet.
Oh yeah, nice.
So it just it's not long behind.
Yeah,
it's wild,
crazy.
Man.
Absolutely crazy.
How fast things are evolving.
So to get us back on track here, really quick, let's get into some more questions. Loving that conversation though.
Yeah.
We got CompuServe here with Amy, and Renee also mentioned CompuServe too. Yeah, good stuff.
Evil Empire Gaming says, "Oh my God, are we a Vibe now? We're a Vibe.
Yep,
we're a Vibe.
We are.
Yeah, we are."
So Super Green Luigi, love the channel name, says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to build a brand and grow my audience as fast as possible. Question is, hey, I'm going over the analytics on my accounts, and I tried looking into how unique viewers work. I've been getting lots of unique views compared to returning viewers and regular views. Can you explain how regular viewers differentiate from returning viewers and unique viewers? Yeah, so basically, when it comes to unique viewers, it's people that haven't it's their first time seeing the content. When it comes to regular viewers, like people can watch a video more than once, right? So like when it's unique viewers, it's just like, hey, that's it. When it comes to the returning viewers, those are people that have interacted with the content in the past and they've come back to interact with the content again, and then the new viewers are people that are seeing the content for the first time also. So that's the difference between all of those. Next up, we've got what you want to look for there, just a heads up, you want to look for a balance of the two. So like when it comes to unique when it comes to returning viewers versus new viewers, returning viewers are, it basically shows you like how engaged people are and what it is that you're doing, right? Like they're getting a lot of value out of your content. Therefore they keep coming back and watching your content, when you publish new videos. And that's where you get just hyper engaged crowds that are really into the content creator and the content and all that stuff. The new viewers pushes you into new people that can subscribe to the channel that can then become returning viewers. So if you're only getting returning viewers and you're not getting in front of any new people, then in that particular case, you need to, work on that side of things. If you are only getting new people, but people aren't coming back, then in that case, you got to start, working on, okay, what can I do to get people to come back, right? Is everything that I'm making in alignment for, like a certain group of people based on the things that they care about? So let's see here really quick. We had a super chat come in. Says, this is Traveling with Brian. Thanks for the super chat, Brian. Says, my third long form video just hit 10,000 views. Congratulations to you. High five and fist bump. Says, woohoo, Nick and D are right. A new channel can get views if you create content that an audience may enjoy, never doubt a Nimmin. Yeah, like that's the thing, you know, like there's a lot of new content creators, and especially like if you hang out in like Facebook communities and subreddits and Discords where a lot of new content creators hang out, one of the things that you're going to see a lot, and I encourage you to just ignore this stuff when you see it. One of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see people saying things like, you know, YouTube doesn't, you know, show your content to people unless you, you know, reach certain milestones. Or they'll say, you know, if you're a new channel, then, you know, YouTube doesn't show your videos to people, and like all kinds of weird things like that. But at the end of the day, you can prove those people wrong by going in and looking at the impressions of your video on your videos. And those impressions are proof that YouTube is showing your content to people. And then from there, how they're reacting to it is actually up to you, and it falls back in your court. So when people are saying those types of things, one of the things that is happening is they're looking for reasons other than themselves that their content is not performing well. So, you know, like when you publish a video, and we're all this way, when you publish a video and that video doesn't do well, you know, you're like, oh man, this sucks. Why didn't it do well? And then from there, you have some choices to make. And that choice is, do I say that YouTube is against me and blame YouTube and blame the algorithm and, you know, all that stuff? Or do I turn it back on myself and say, well, compared to all the content that I'm competing with on YouTube, is my content like really good? Is it really competitive? If I look in my stats, if I look at my analytics, like are my videos the best that they can be? Yes or no? Maybe they're the best that they can be with your current ability, but they're not the best that they can be, right? So like when you turn that spotlight back on yourself, then it forces you to make a change and forces you to start asking the right questions versus just blaming YouTube and then just kind of offloading the blame, so to speak. Like we were having a conversation in here earlier today where somebody was mentioning that, you know, they believe that YouTube has, through bots and all that stuff, that they have pretty much like an on and off switch for channels or videos. And the thing there is, in that particular case, when you are blaming things like that, what you're doing is you're just saying like, okay, I refuse to take responsibility for the performance of my content. And that's okay. Like if you're a hobbyist or something like that in that particular case, and you're not trying to like really, you know, get like real results, then you can keep doing the thing that you're doing, even if it's not getting the results that you're after, but you can't blame YouTube for that, right? So, you know, like me, in my case, I without question, I can make better videos, right? But I don't always do that. Sometimes I just put content together and I'm lazy and I'll,
questionable,
you know, and I'll get it out, right? And I'll get it out and I'll be like, you know, this is just something that I want to put out there. This is, you know, a feature that was, you know, put out. So I just want to put it out there and just let people know it's available or how it works or whatever the thing is. And with those types of things, even with those videos, yeah, I could do better if I spend more time on them and, you know, things like that. So when it comes to, you know, your videos underperforming, it always comes down to the decisions that we make as content creators, right? Every now and then there's other things. Like let's say, for example, there's some, you know, catastrophic event that happens somewhere and it's drawing everybody's attention. There's not as many people there, you know, on the platform or something like that. There are things like that. But in terms of, you know, it being a continuous thing, like every time I publish something, it doesn't get very far. You got to turn the spotlight back on yourself. And it sucks because as creatives, we want to just make stuff and we want people to enjoy it in the same way that we do. But when we're making content for other people, we have to learn how to make content that other people can also enjoy while we, you know, enjoy it as well.
You've got some super chats.
Let's see here. TubeSpanner in the house. What's going on, Danielle?
Hey,
Hope that you are
Danielle.
on fantastic. Says, never mind the internet. I'm so old that when I was young, rainbows were in black and white. That's like the Wizard of Oz almost.
Right?
Yeah, that's great. Love it. Absolutely love it. Bill Dubé says, we can only blame the man in the mirror. Absolutely. Without question. Oregon Trees Gaming says, hey, Dee and Nick, hope you guys are doing well. What's going on? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Also, thanks for your support over the last 6 months. Super appreciate it.
Hope you're doing well up in Oregon in the trees.
Yep.
Playing your games.
Yep. Yeah, that paints a picture of like a tree house.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, if you're not in a tree house playing games up in Oregon, I am severely disappointed.
Right.
So put that out there.
Yeah. And Chad, really quick, he says, I think you're giving too much credit to YouTube as if it's great at getting content in front of the right audience, etc. They are spectacular. They've built a gigantic company out of being able to get the right content in front of the right people. They absolutely know how to get the right content in front of the right people.
Nick is he's on Team YouTube. I'm a lot more pessimistic than he is. And I'm hard on YouTube. But I will say this. YouTube is really good at getting content in front of the right audience. Do they get it right every time? No, of course not.
Right.
But
that's what testing is for.
Do they recommend my own content to me sometimes?
Sure.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
But guess what? That 98% of the time, that 95% of the time, they nail it.
And 95%, even 80%.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible.
Even
if it was running at 80%, that's incredible.
YouTube is better at getting the right content in front of me than Netflix is at recommending movies for me to watch.
Right.
Like, yeah, I can usually. I'll say this though. YouTube sometimes has periods where I'm just like, no, there's the garbage. But because I understand how YouTube works, I understand that they're testing.
Yep.
They're testing this sort of content on me. Sometimes they get it wrong, sure, but I would say they get it right a lot more times.
Right.
But if you just think about it at scale, think about how many, Renee, how many users on YouTube worldwide? So
it's over 2 billion.
Yeah, over 2 billion. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what YouTube basically is, right? It's a system of prediction. The YouTube algorithm is trying to predict algorithms.
And that's logged in. By the way.
Right.
That's logged in. There's more users, but that's logged in.
They're trying to predict what the viewer wants to watch and then what they want to watch next. They're really good at it.
Yeah.
They're really good at
They
it.
are.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, the more you interact with certain types of content, the better it gets.
Right.
So
the review channel says they're almost at 11,000 subscribers. Congratulations to you for that. Nice work.
Oh, where's Doug at? Did Doug hit 10K?
Not sure. Pull him up.
I'm gonna find out. Yeah.
CL Snipe says, thank you for the super chat. Says, how would you upload a time lapse to YouTube with music? I have a D&D channel and I took a time lapse setup of video. Any suggestions? So if you're just uploading it to music, then in that particular case, all you would do is just find the track that you want to use for it, drop it into editing software, put that track, put the audio to the time lapse, render it all out, and then, upload it there. Keep in mind that, your D&D channel, if somebody is coming to your channel to watch D&D content, I'm not 100% sure how much that time-lapse content would be of value to them, because it's, in that case, it's just like, hey, here's a time-lapse of us playing or whatever the time-lapse is with some music playing. So because of that, some might find it interesting. Maybe, I mean, you might want to experiment with it. But if they come to you specifically to watch you play, like games where they can hear you talking and things like that, then in that case, that may not be the best fit, but give it a shot. That's the fun thing about experimenting, is you might uncover something there. But when it comes to that, one other way that you can use it is if you are making content, your normal content, and then you are talking about you playing the game, or you had some friends over and you're playing the game or whatever, if that's what the time lapse is about, then using that as like B-roll within the footage. So it's basically extra footage that you would layer on top of it while you're telling the story, and then that imagery of the time lapse would help illustrate the idea that you are explaining in the content.
Doug is so close to 10,000 subscribers. 9,940, I'm guessing that's what it is.
Nice.
So Doug helps YouTubers better understand YouTube so they can make better videos.
Yep.
Look, Doug's channel is a catch-all
for
YouTube creators, and he's really fast on breaking YouTube news.
Yep.
Go over there and subscribe to Doug if you're a YouTuber and you want to stay on top of news, just want to stay on top of new whatever. Yep.
Only subscribe if you would watch, more content like that. But he's got 58 subscribers to go until he hits 10,000 subscribers. So first off, Doug, congratulations to you for 10K, my man.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, if you are a content creator, you want to stay up to date on, what's happening with YouTube. And he also goes deep in terms of explaining the different features and how to use stuff and things like that. So definitely make sure that you do subscribe to him if you would enjoy watching more of that content.
Yep. So here's a question. I'm just going to grab one out of the chat. I'm going to put it on the screen here. I'm going to let you tackle this one.
Okay.
Rose says, is YouTube like winning the lottery? When you win, you get loads of views and money, but when you don't, you get views, money, and you lose. What are your thoughts on that?
No. So this is another thing that happens a lot in like the new YouTuber communities is, you're going to see people talking about, first, they're going to blame YouTube for, them not being able to get views. Two, you're also going to see people saying things like that. Like, it's just a total luck of the draw. And that luck of the draw is, like YouTube's just going to put your content in front of people, and they're just going to either put it in front of a lot of people or they're not. And that they just randomly select channels to blow up. And that's not the case at all. So what you can do is you can, once you learn how to do this, you can make content, you can publish it, and you'll see immediately that you can also get results on that too. Like the thing is like when you go like on Reddit, one of the fortunate things that you get to see there is a lot of the content creators will put a link to their YouTube channel and their profiles on Reddit. So when I see this stuff on Reddit, I'll go and I'll look at their channels, and 10 times out of 10, the people that are saying that stuff, the content just isn't good content. Like it's not packaged well. The topics aren't great. The content that is delivered on the channel is for different audiences, or it's just not clear what it even is. Once you click on it, it sounds bad, or it looks bad, or there's no real flow with it. Like there's no hook, you know, when you go into the video, like all kinds of just general best practice things that they don't do. And, you know, just like anything else, if you're not even doing the basics, then in that case, you can't expect much out of it, right? So when it comes to it being like a, you know, luck of the draw,
getting the ants on you,
absolutely not. I did just get maybe it is a mosquito.
Yeah, there could be a mosquito flying around in here.
Yeah,
looking at
But yeah, it's definitely not a lottery. But one thing I can tell you though is when you do make good videos. When you make good videos and you get yourself to the point to where your content's competitive within the platform, then in that particular case, it can feel like it's a lottery, because then at that point it's like, wow, this video is like really kicking off, and you know I'm able to, you know, build a brand around, you know, this video and following up with additional videos that are also good that people respond well to, like all of the stuff that comes with things going well. That side of it can feel like it, but in terms of, you know, like the system is just going to randomly pick somebody. No, it's the entire thing is a response-based system, right? So the whole idea is the better the response that you get, the better your videos are going to do. And by response, I mean how viewers are interacting with the content. And if you do not have people responding to your content in a positive way, then in that particular case, your videos aren't going to get very far. But if you do have people that are really enjoying the content, then your videos are going to continue to get shown to people over time. So there's that.
Yep. Yeah, here's a little test for everyone in here. If you're trying to figure out YouTube and why YouTube hates you, here's a little test. Go into your analytics and look at your impressions for any one of your videos. Mm-hmm. If you are getting impressions, YouTube is showing your videos to someone. Doesn't matter how few people there are, they're showing your videos to someone. Yep. And I'm going to simplify this just for understanding purposes. If YouTube shows your video to 10 people and the majority of those people either scroll past it or they click in and they quickly click out, those are negative signals that are sent to YouTube, and they're not going to be inclined to continue to show that video to new people at that particular time. Right. They might try it again later, but at that particular time, that's going to kill off your video. Yep. But if they're showing it to people and more people are sending positive signals, they show it to people, they click, and they're watching a decent amount of time, YouTube is going to be inclined to continue to show your video to new people. Yep. And that's going to continue for a period of time as well. So negative signals to YouTube are going to kill off your video at that particular time. Positive signals will keep showing your video to new people for a period of time. The better the video it is, the longer they're going to show it to, the more people they're going to test it on, so on and so forth. So if you are getting impressions, YouTube is doing their job. You just haven't figured out how to do yours yet. Yet. It all comes into learning how to package everything correctly, the right title, the right topics, right? Just the overall packaging, the right thumbnails. When you figure that out and YouTube can connect that with the right audience, if you've done your job right, you're going to see your impressions turn into views turn into watch time, subscribers, and that whole momentum ball gets rolling. Reach. Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing too, just really quick.
And that's simplified. That's a simplified explanation.
Just to address Chad really quick. So I just pulled up his channel, and the last video on your channel that I looked at. So the video is 1 minute and 32 seconds long. You shot it in vertical format, right? In addition to that, you have this like slant. I don't know if you did this with graphics or whatever, but when you actually click on it, it looks like an error in terms of the video itself. Also, the topic of the video is Alice in Chains hyphen down in a hole hyphen acoustic guitar. So another thing with that is you got to think, one, there's probably a gazillion videos on YouTube where people are playing the same exact song. So the competition for this is probably extremely high just in terms of that by itself. Also, you have like shorts here as your, as a hashtag, but this isn't a YouTube short, right? So like in terms of just best practice stuff here, like there's just a lot of things breaking down here. Like you've got 13,000 subscribers on your channel, so people are responding to some of your stuff.
If they're organic, if you're not buying them or doing sub or sub or anything.
But he's got 3.7 thousand videos. A lot of it shorts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have people responding to your stuff. So what you got to do, man, is you got to go in and you got to figure out like, okay, what is it that people are responding to? So, in your particular case, like you have System of a Down here that you got 48,000 views on. So in that particular case, if you're not doing it already, I would try to make some more System of a Down videos and just see if people respond, to it. In addition to that, you have this green screen thing that you're doing. Some of those have gotten a decent amount of views. But you also have this like black background and things like that. Like I would experiment with all of these different things until you can see if you can find things that people will consistently respond to. Like in your case, it's definitely not a button that's being hit. There's some clear, and not just the things that I've talked about, just from what I'm seeing here though, without putting a spot, without taking up everybody's time here. There's a lot of just best practice stuff that you're overlooking. So I would get that stuff in order first, and then from there start building up from that point. So next up on the list,
hey,
Ron's Trains and Things. Thanks, dude, for the super chat. Says, love the content as always. Mine is a hobby project how-to channel. What are some ways that I can use AI to improve my videos? Great question. So the very first one that I could think of would be to use it to help you come up with just general like ideas for content, for, things that you could make videos about, if that's something that you are, struggling with in any way. In terms of the videos themselves, hold on, I'm going to pull up your channel here real quick. Ron's Trains and Things, just so I can see the actual content. Like you can probably make like B-roll of trains and, things like that if you need to, if it's required to express the idea. Okay, here. So it's, creating the cornfield for your model railroad layout. Yeah, in your particular case, probably not much outside of maybe some help on the editing side. So I know, depending on what you edit with, like I know Adobe Premiere, for example, they have tools that will look for silence in your audio and it'll automatically, cut those types of things out. So you might be able to use something like that. I think Autopod might be the name of it, or at least one of them, that can do that sort of thing. Yeah, you could probably use ChatGPT to workshop your titles. And the thing there is, because you have, all the YouTube tools have the generators in them too. But what you would be looking for is like, okay, here, give me 20 different variations of this title. And like, I'll use it this way to where I'm like, okay, give me 20 different versions of this title. Or I'll say, this is what the video is about and give a very detailed explanation and then ask it to give a title and then have it give me a bunch of variations there. And I use all of that just for input. So the idea is I'm looking for things like, oh, that word is a more, impactful word than the word that I was originally using. So maybe I'm not going to use the whole title, but maybe this word right here is a stronger word. So I'm going to use that. Or it might be able to, make the titles more concise or more clear, more easy to read, those types of things, or just give you another idea in terms of a way to present it. In addition to that, another way you can use AI with your content also is you can do fun things. Like with ChatGPT, like for example, you can sort by popular and then you can screenshot your thumbnails and your titles there. And you can ask it, hey, look for similarities in these. Like, is there anything that you think that, like what are some common, things between these thumbnails? Now, in your case, it's going to give you some obvious stuff on your popular ones with like this green panel and those types of things. But if you ask it about the titles themselves, then it might be able to find some type of pattern within your titles that, that people have responded to better there, those types of things. So those are both of those things are ChatGPT based, but you could use it in that way, and then possibly on the editing side, depending on how you're putting things together. But off the top of my head, do you have any additional ideas there?
I wasn't even listening. I was looking at somebody's channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, other things too, technically, is if you were building this out to where you're like, okay, I'm going to be really aggressive about growth over the next like 90 days.
That would have been a great place to just tell me what the question was, so I could have like.
what you can do in that case is you can say, okay, if I'm going to be aggressive over the next 90 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain. There's actually a tool for this. It's called Creative Fuel that actually connects to your YouTube channel, and it actually takes your channel into context when it's giving you information. But when it comes to ChatGPT, you can just use it raw also. But with ChatGPT, you can say, okay, this is the type of content that I make. These are the people that I'm targeting with this content. This is the amount of content that I can upload in terms of I can only publish once a week or whatever. I can do long form, I can do live streams, I can do shorts, but I can only do one live or one long form per week, one live per month, one short per week. Put together a content strategy for the next 90 days that will help me accomplish the goal of, and then fill in the blank. And then from there, it'll spit out, you know, an idea of videos that you can publish and all of that. And around the goal, tell it that the goal is to get people coming back into the channel and enjoying, you know, more of the same, you know, content from you. And it'll put together a content strategy. Now with that, you might want to copy and paste it and then drop it into Google Doc or something and then be like, this is probably appropriate. This probably isn't. Or maybe I could make these videos and then people would come back for this. But you'd want to apply your logic of your audience and how you understand the people that you're reaching with your content to it. But you can use it as a great starting point to build out some of those, you know, processes. I have a video on the Streamyard YouTube channel. It's called something along the lines of like how to use ChatGPT for live streams. Yes, it's targeted towards live streamers, but a lot of the information in there, you can also use that for video content as well. So I would definitely check out that video just for some more things that maybe you might be able to use, because some of the things in there about like helping it come up with, you know, interview questions that you would ask a guest. That's one of the things that I have in there. I think another one is about coming up with show themes. In your particular case, you could also do that. So let's say, for example, and you know, as an educational channel, this is something that I'm currently working on myself too, is, you know, one thing that I try to do is I try to take, you know, all of the ideas around YouTube and I try to break them down into just, you know, easy things. So one thing that I am doing in there is I'm, you know, dropping like lists in there and I'm like, okay, these are, you know, the things that I talk about. Can you just like summarize this for me or make it just easy to understand? And just little things like that to where you can kind of help you explain things in better ways and all of that.
So this is answering Ron's question about how can you use AI to improve your videos. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ron, do you know why people watch your videos? Or are they watching you because they like to build train sets with you? Or are they watching because they want to see your
like the end result? The
end result. Yeah. Do you know why the majority of the people are on board? One thing that I would try, I mean, you could, like, again, I don't know, you know, the type of trains. I don't know if you're doing old stuff or trying to, you know, modern stuff or whatever. But man, you could use AI to just create make-believe train sets, futuristic train sets. You could have it make you could have it make images and soon very realistic videos of trains that don't even exist.
Yeah.
Just to like show the audience,
right?
You know.
Yeah, that's actually,
you know what I mean? Like,
so using it not just in the video context, but like, hey, how can I use this to actually help with the projects?
Right.
So then it's like, okay,
help you design the track. Like, help you design the thing that you're going to make.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
It could design, you know, engines that don't even exist yet. Some futuristic thing. AI is incredibly creative. When you start, you just have to learn how to ask it the right questions. And sometimes, you know, like if you're using ChatGPT and it's creating images for you, or even Midjourney, like if you learn how to ask the right questions, sometimes it can come up with some wild responses, things that you never even thought of. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, wow, I never even thought about that.
That's where the content strategy thing is cool.
Yeah.
Like when you change the goals up,
yeah,
it's crazy how it's like, okay, well, these are the videos that you need to make, and it's really interesting. Yeah,
yeah. So I would first try to identify why the majority of people are watching your videos in the first place, and then seeing how you can actually come up with train ideas or set ideas that might not even exist yet.
Yeah,
you know, those things that it comes up with might inspire you to actually build those things.
Yeah,
or, you know, recreating train sets recommended by AI.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Video, hold on, what is this here? Video Man 2000. Thank you for the super chat. It says, my channel is seasonal. Thanks for the heads up on that, Doug. It says, my channel is seasonal. Shall I adopt my schedule? So if you are doing something like, let's say, for example, you are making content around like baseball, then in that particular case, there's definitely going to be a heightened interest around that, around baseball season. If you're teaching people how to play baseball, then in that case, there's going to be an interest around that, as you're getting closer to the season, as people are starting to train up for it and stuff. So because of that, you can expect those surges around that time. You can actually go to Google Trends. You can put in the topic, that you do talk about, and you can actually see some of those things. But when it comes to, making content for them, you can put out supplemental content. Like you can try to find, other things to talk about related to it. But when it comes to having like an outdoor channel or a sports channel or something like that, to where it's like, hey, it's wintertime, I can't make anything, then in that case, pre-planning some of the content can be helpful in making more content that you need during the season, so that you can put out the content for the season, but then also during that time that you can make content, if this applies, make content that you would be able to publish also when you're out of season. But you might need to, modify topics a little bit and things like that, just based on, the interest in the season. Because, as an example, like let's say that if you're interested in baseball, then you're probably always interested in baseball, but you're probably just, into the hype of baseball when everything's actually happening. But you might be interested in watching like character breakdowns, in the off season, right? Because you're still interested in baseball. So because of that, talking about the character, like it's a game, but the, breakdowns of the, players and things like that, is also something that you might be able to, get into. So that's what I'm doing. It's about traveling to Norway. Most people come in summer. Okay. Yeah, then in that particular case, if you know that, then you can still make those videos. And keep in mind, when you're making videos on YouTube, the initial performance doesn't directly impact the long-term performance of the video. Yes, there's view velocity and all that stuff, but once a video settles into YouTube, as long as people are responding well to that video, if it got a bunch of views when you published it or not, as long as people, responded to it in some way that was positive, then those videos are still going to be shown to people. And as soon as people start getting more interest in that topic, then, seasonally, then, those videos, should rise up as long as people respond well to them. So what you might want to think about is, for the downtime that I have during the season when people aren't coming to Norway, I know that when it comes season, people are going to be looking for all kinds of information around Norway. So because of that, when you go into that season, then you might want to seed a bunch of search-based content where you're you're answering a bunch of questions around traveling to Norway, and target all of that content towards YouTube search. And then when you're in the on season, then in that case, that's where you want to target the recommendation system, so that you can, you can sprinkle it back and forth to where you're like, hey, these are going to be for search, these are going to be for the recommendation system. But basically, when you take that approach, then what you're doing with the content in the off season is you're publishing on a regular basis still, but you're doing that just for the sake of getting, of targeting those search phrases and search terms around Norway, so that when the season comes and people are looking for information around Norway, you're there. You're in all those spots answering all the questions that people are looking for, and they continually run into your channel there. And then the play on the recommendations is that for the people that are looking for that stuff, around Norway, or that are looking around travel in Norway, things like that, if you publish videos that are targeted more towards the recommendation system, then in that case, what can happen there is YouTube will identify that it's something about, Norway and travel to Norway. And for the people that are, already looking around those topics, then it's likely to recommend your content to some of those people as long as they respond to it. So because of that, you can do those sorts of things when it comes to off seasons around your content. Doug is only 48 people away from 10,000 subscribers. Woo! Love it, love it, love it. Absolutely love it. 48. Okay, so your content is mostly search anyway. Yeah, in that particular case, then I would just keep doing your thing, and keep making that content, targeted towards search, and then just stay in motion, right? And then when that season comes, then you can ride those waves as they happen. Suburban Acreage. Did I do this one yet? Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, so Suburban Acreage, been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do DIY tutorials and tool reviews surrounding home ownership and lawn care. The goal of the channel is to share information, build community, and make some money. Question: I have some older videos from a few years ago that continue to get lots of views because they're evergreen and searchable. Ty's Hot Mess History. What's going on? Hope you're doing great. Looking back on them is hard because I can make better videos now compared to when I was first starting out. Do you have any tips for redoing or remaking older videos? a shot-for-shot remake with the same title doesn't seem right. So if you know you can make better videos now, then in that case, you can absolutely remake videos. Because when people, especially if you're making like, evergreen searchable content, because what's going to happen is when you publish those videos, if people start responding better to them, then in that case, those will probably end up taking the priority as long as people respond better to them. So because of that, it's absolutely perfectly fine to be like, hey, I made this video last year, 6 months ago, and I can do a way better version of this now based on, the new things that I know, or, my better, way to communicate, or, my better way to put everything together. I know how to edit now and how to tell a better story now, whatever the thing is. You can remake videos, no problem at all. I wouldn't necessarily do shot for shot because then you'd be making the same video, right? But I would just take the new knowledge that you have and say, okay, this is the topic. How can I make the best possible video here for this topic? And then roll with that. But in terms of going after a same topic, that's perfectly fine. Because not every person that interacts with your channel is watching every video that you publish anyway.
Yeah.
So Doug Ventures Media, thank you for the super chat, says, I changed focus in October and started to get a ton more views, particularly on shorts, but it's not converting to subscribers. Is it just time? Thanks. So people subscribe to channels for a bunch of different reasons, but one of those is the value that they're getting out of what it is that you're doing. So when it comes to shorts, even though you're getting like, views from those shorts, typically they will drive, more subscribers. But it still comes down to the value of what it is that you're doing. So in some cases, like, the content that you're publishing, people might be responding okay to it, but it might be more of like a novelty thing or something like that, to where it's like, hey, I enjoyed this, but if I don't see another one of these, that's perfectly fine too. So when it comes to people subscribing, they're going to subscribe because of the direct value that they're getting out of the content. So you entertained them, you made them laugh in some way, like whatever it is, you taught them something, but you made them want more of that content. And that's why people subscribe. All right. So next up on the list. Next up, we got Playing the Mom Game. What's going on? Hope you're doing great. Says a very slowly growing channel. The goal of the channel is to is income potential and to do something different. The question is, I have a shotgun mic that connects to my phone, which is what I film on, but my audio is then taken all over the place because I move around during filming. I'd like to get a lav mic that is hopefully hidden during filming. Do you have any recommendations for one that is around $100 or less? I'm also intimidated by anything that doesn't connect right to my phone, but I'd be open to that too.
Head over to my channel. I have a couple lavalier microphone reviews. You can get, I think the cheapest, best sounding lavalier microphone
is BYM1.
It's the Boya BYM1 microphone. It has a cable that is ridiculously long, so you're going to want to zip or Velcro that up, but it also doubles. So if you're like on a 6th floor building and you need to quickly get off the balcony, you could tie that around something and rappel off
the, like, oh no, it's burning, it's on fire.
But it sounds great. So I have a couple of different microphone reviews over my channel connected to a phone. I think that sounds better than, what's the name of the Rode one? The Rode S... I can't remember. Anyway, Rode makes one.
The wireless one?
No, it's not wireless. It's cable. I can't think of the name of the Rode one, but I think the Boya actually sounds better. Go check it out on my channel. I've got some comparison reviews on that. Yeah, the Boya BYM1. Bang for the buck. I think that's the winner. Yeah.
It's not like perfect, but I mean, it's really good.
I have a bunch of different lavalier microphones in here that I connect to the phone, and when I've tested a lot of them around that budget, and when I have to grab one, that's what I still grab that one. Yeah.
Agent KCG.
Smart Lav Plus. Thank you, Doug.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Next time you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. I put the address up on the screen right here so you can see that. But go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members-only Facebook group if that's something that you're interested in. In addition to that, we also have a Discord that's free to everybody. Like anybody can go into the Discord. But within that, there is a locked-off members-only area as well. So you also get access to that also if you are into Discord. So if you can do that, if you can submit to that today, then... or before the stream is over, then I can add you into the Facebook group as soon as the stream is done.
I will say this about the Boya products. Try to find an authorized dealer to buy Boya because there are a lot of fakes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge problem.
Oh, I
it's
didn't know
such a problem that they now are putting QR codes in the boxes for people to scan.
Oh, wow.
To verify that it's real.
I didn't know that.
But I wouldn't even trust that that's even... You try to find a trustworthy shop. Just don't walk into some little tiny phone shop. Try to find somebody reputable for buying this sort of thing. Oh, yeah, dude. They're copying everything, man. Although, Rode, sure, all of them. Yeah, it's crazy. But Boya's got it bad.
Blake Cards, next on the list. They upload, or they've been on YouTube for a year or more. By the way, just really quick reminder, if you do have a question, make sure you put it in the form down in the description below. We answer them in the order that they come in. So make sure that you do get it down into that form. But the type of channel is my brother and I open and review football cards. The goal of the channel is to get monetized. And the question is, hey, Nick, in clone version D,
hey.
Can you go over the pros and cons of YouTube memberships versus Patreon? And Nick, why do you choose YouTube memberships over Patreon? I'm a big fan of ease of use. So because of that, here's an advantage of YouTube memberships. One, the people are already on YouTube when you are mentioning the membership, so they don't have to go anywhere. People are familiar with YouTube. A lot of people don't even know what Patreon is. So as a creator, you do, and a lot of viewers do. Like the people that are really engaged, on YouTube, they do. But like the general public doesn't know what Patreon is, and they don't know if they can trust it or not. When it comes to YouTube, people know YouTube. They know, that they can, pay for it. They don't have to worry about their cards getting, compromised, anything weird like that. So it's just that sense of security. In addition to that, you can deliver content directly onto YouTube. There's also just some built-in perks for members on YouTube and that kind of stuff too, which is a win. So all of those things are great when it comes to YouTube. Some of the things you can do is you can upload members-only videos, you can have members-only live streams, you can have members-only community posts, and when people are already on YouTube, they can see that stuff. But when it comes to Patreon, the downside of that is that people have to leave YouTube in order to go consume content over there or get whatever it is that you're offering in exchange for your membership. The win of Patreon is that you're not putting all of your eggs into the YouTube basket. That's a huge win, because let's say that you have a bunch of members on your channel and then you get demonetized for some reason. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose those members. So because of that, you can go from making a bunch of money if you're only reliant on on-platform monetization, meaning ads and super chats and memberships and all that stuff. If it's all on YouTube, then if you get demonetized, if it's an error or not, if you end up getting demonetized, then what can happen is you just go down to zero, like instantly. However, if you are on like Patreon or you're using Uscreen, if you're doing any type of course stuff or something like that, then in that particular case, you're basically throwing out parachutes to where it's like, hey, as if everything were to just go south on the channel, in that particular case, I've got these backups in place to where I can still serve my community over here while I'm figuring out what went wrong with YouTube, right? So it creates that extra layer of security. And if you are somebody that is wanting to, do this professionally, like if you got a family that's depending on you or you're depending on yourself, from the income that you're generating on YouTube, then in that particular case, having those parachutes in place can definitely be, helpful for you. So because of that, those are kind of the pros and the cons of the two, in my opinion. Do you have any additional pros and cons of those two?
No, I think that's the biggest. Okay. YouTube makes it easy.
Yeah.
Right. If you're already on YouTube, especially if you're giving super chats to people, you're already connected to YouTube, you trust YouTube. I mean, you should trust Patreon. There's nothing shady there at all.
Nothing shady at all.
But you're on the platform. So I think there's a definite pro there. The only thing is it's kind of like getting people from TikTok over to YouTube. Sometimes people just really like the platform that they're on. Right. So I think that's one hurdle. The second hurdle that you're going to have is not everybody knows what Patreon is. Yep. So you might have to educate, people on that. But I mean, some people build enormous followings on Patreon, huge followings. Oh yeah. So, so maybe that's not a problem at all. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I will say this. I
have a friend of mine that was making $50,000 a month off of Patreon when he had 50,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
Yeah. So it can be done. You can build you can build something massive over there. Yeah. But I think there's also an argument about,
he's got almost 100,000 subscribers now, so I can't even imagine what he's making
about putting all of your eggs in the YouTube basket. So if something happens to your channel, happens to your channel, your memberships go with it.
Yep.
So
hacked, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Anything that causes some type of disruption.
Yeah. Yeah. it's a choice that you're going to have to make as a creator. I have memberships turned on, but if I really wanted to, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. You know, because there's a lot of oopsies.
Yeah.
There's more oopsies on YouTube than there should be.
Yeah. Her Heel Review said that her husband just asked what's Patreon.
Right.
Yep.
But
and Hendrick also brings up another point. I can't remember what Patreon's cut is, but YouTube does take 30% of your membership. So that is a negative also.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patreon's is 8 is what they're saying here. I'm not 100% sure on Patreon's. But yeah, like those types of things are also big elephants in the room.
I mean, you could do both.
Yeah.
You could do both. You could, you know, treat both like a business or, you know, build communities on both and let people decide where they want to support you.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
It's more work on your end, but less risk.
Yeah.
You know, you're minimizing your risk there.
So really quick, in the chat, and I'm looking for it here really fast.
Patreon is 8%, Hendrick said.
Okay.
So 8% versus 30%.
So right now, just as a heads up, let's see here. So Jimmy Ray's Art says, will TubeBuddy offer any discounts or specials for new users soon? I would like to try it out, but the monthly cost is high for a small channel. So here's the thing. They actually have a promotion going right now. If you go to my Twitter account here, I'm actually going to see if I can share this. No, I cannot. Okay, so if you go to TubeBuddy.com, you can add /Nimmin if you want to give me credit for it. But right now, they're having a 50% off on all annual licenses. So it says right here, they're offering 50% off of any annual plan. So you can get the most growth for your buck. Get this deal now through 2/29. So you got 5 days technically to do this, but basically 50% off of any annual plan. So they're having a deal right now. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, go to TubeBuddy.com or TubeBuddy.com/Nimmin. Either one, like, you know, I would appreciate the hookup on the affiliate side, but it's not, you know, like I'd prefer that you just use the tool. So because of that, you know, just whatever vehicle gets you there, use it, and you can get, you know, half off for an annual membership over there. So next up on our list here, we got Water Prairie Chronicles. They upload 1 time per week or more. The type of channel is a podcast for special need parents. The goal of the channel says, I want to encourage and support parents who have children with disabilities and help advocate for a more inclusive world for those living with disabilities. The question, I began a channel to post a video version of the podcast to go along with the website and audio platforms and to make the information more accessible for everyone. I recently read that I can now upload the RSS feed to YouTube and wanted to know if I should add the RSS feed as an audio version of the podcast to my YouTube channel and still post the video version as a separate playlist. Growth is very slow, and I'm trying to figure out a better growth plan as I begin season 3 this week. I would actually, if you're going to do just video content of it, I would just upload the video content. And when you upload the video content on YouTube, you can still make a playlist for that. And within that playlist, you can actually set up your podcast and everything in that playlist also. And anytime you upload one of those videos that's a podcast, you can upload anything you want to your channel, including those podcasts. But when it comes to anything that you want that's targeted towards that same audience, I got to be clear there. But with that podcast, all you do, just like I do with this show that you're watching right now, is you just check in the playlist box that it's part of that playlist or that podcast, and then they'll go ahead and put it on Apple Music for you as well. So if you're uploading it to YouTube, you can just pull the audio in if you want to. But since it is a video platform, I would recommend that if you can make videos for it, to go ahead and make videos for it so you can get them up there. But I know on the flip side of that, I mean, and I'm saying this because you're making videos already, but I know one of the advantages of a podcast is that you don't have to get ready for it. You don't have to turn on lights. You don't have to do anything. You just sit at your kitchen table. It doesn't have to look pretty, anything like that. You can just, do the audio side. And for that, if you're just on audio, that's fine. But if you are going to be making videos, then I would just do the video version of the podcast.
Playing the Mom Game says, thanks for Mike recommendation. I also like my YouTube devices to double as safety devices, repelling off a building.
Right.
So that's a big win too. Yeah. One more thing about the Boya. You can go to Google or you can go to YouTube and you can type in like how to spot a Boya microphone fake. Yep. And there's tons of blogs and videos. I looked just a few minutes ago.
Next up, Her Heel Review. Her Heel Review. The goal of the channel is to become a paid part-time film critic through monetization and build a community of film lovers. The question is, Do vertical lives get better engagement than horizontal, and does that count towards watch time? I saw you did one the other day while making thumbnails. Did you unlist it? Because I wanted to get inspiration from you. Thank you so much. So that particular one was actually over on my extras channel, and I'm going to be doing those on a somewhat regular basis over there. And those are just going to simply be just, popping in, answering questions, maybe, showing how to do some stuff, more of like a casual type of thing, because I think that's a little bit more, appropriate. But when it comes to those, yeah, they definitely, like on this channel, they got more engagement, and on that channel, they got more engagement in terms of like likes and views and that kind of stuff. However, the views themselves weren't that great in terms of the amount of time people spent watching and all of that. Now, keep in mind, it's all going to be dependent on what it is that you're doing. So with me, there's a lot of qualifiers. You got to be, into, being a content creator and all that stuff in order for my content to even matter to you. So if it just pops up to a random person that isn't a content creator, then in that case, it's immediately off. And because of that, that might be why people there watch for a short amount of time. It could also be that they're in the short shelf and they're just watching short content. So they're watching a little bit of it and they're like, okay, done with that. And then they move on. I'm not sure. But people watched considerably less. Like my average view duration on the landscape versions, it's 20 to 30 minutes depending on the stream. And when it came to the vertical version, the immediate report was a minute, but the after the fact report came in as around 2 minutes. So because of that, it's definitely something you can use to get in front of people, but just make sure that you are paying attention to what it is that you're doing and how people are responding to it based on your specific content, because you are talking about movies and films and things like that. So just by default, you're going to have a larger group of people because a lot of people are interested in film and TV shows. So basically you're talking about pop culture. So because of that, you will have that advantage to be of interest to people that are interested in those topics, which is great. So definitely, experiment with it and see, if it works well for you. But in terms of like the watch time, as long as you leave it public and you don't unlist it or you don't make it private, then you also get credited for the watch time for those two. Ty's Hot Mess History, thank you again for the super chat. Says, I want to thank you for promoting VidSummit. I'd never heard of it until I found your channel. I'm still applying what I learned at VidSummit. I just hit 160,000 subscribers last night, and I really feel like I'm getting started. High five and fist bump to you.
That's amazing.
Absolutely love it. So first,
congratulations.
For those of you that are here that don't know what VidSummit is like the conference for content creators. So like if you're a content creator and you can only go to one conference, VidSummit is that conference that you should go to. Two, it was awesome meeting you and hanging out at VidSummit. Looking forward to doing that again, this coming year. Hopefully, you're going to go again. And three, I love that you didn't just go and just consume the information and then got on with your life. I love that you're like, okay, I went, I learned a bunch of stuff and now I'm applying it, to the channel and I'm crossing these, additional milestones. So absolutely love every aspects of that. And it's my pleasure. Like, I'm glad that you got value out of that. And, one of the things too, and I actually mentioned this in my presentation, because you went to that. But, one of the things that I pride myself on is I only, recommend things that I truly believe are helpful for people. And when it comes to, VidSummit, that's one of the ones that I always, recommend because, it's been extremely helpful for me. And I know tons of people that have went to VidSummit and it's made like major changes for them too. So, so because of that, it's something that I'll always recommend. Love VidSummit.
One of the craziest things about VidSummit, in addition to all of that, and it's an obvious thing because you look at YouTube as a creator and you look online, and these people are probably doing this full time, maybe making a living at it, but there's something incredible about being surrounded by people in person who are doing it for a living. Yeah. Like, this is their job. Right. They eat, breathe, sleep, talk. I mean, like, everything is just YouTube. There's just something amazing being around those people just in real life. Right. It adds a level of
realism.
Yeah, it adds a level of realism.
It takes it from being like a pipe dream to like, wow, this is really happening to normal people. Yeah. Like, all you got to do is follow these paths and, learn how to make good content. And Yeah,
and it's not all, that's the amazing thing. That's the point I was getting at. It's not all, just young kids that are making a living. Like, you'll meet people on there, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old sometimes, that are just like, they're killing it.
Right. Just crushing.
Just full-time creators.
In a niche that you've never even heard of.
Yeah. Stuff you've never heard of.
Yeah, it's great.
Alternatively, you'll meet, I remember my very first, and I wish I remember this guy's channel. My very first VidSummit, I met a guy who, I think he had 2,000 subscribers, making 20 grand a month.
Nice.
he built this entire, he was doing something with books.
Oh.
I forget what it was. Something, he built this system and just funneling people through. He built his entire business around his YouTube channel.
Nice.
2,000 subscribers. So it just gives you perspective. Like, you know, like, wow, wow, I've got to have 1 million subscribers before I can go full time. No. Like this guy was doing it with 2,000 subscribers.
Right. There's a lot of those there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of those there.
It adds a level of realness, and it opens your. But you have to network. You have to talk to people. You know, if you're a wallflower, you might not get this. But if you actually get out there and you talk to all sorts of different people, you're going to meet a lot of interesting people. Some of them are new. Some of them are struggling. Some of them are just absolutely killing it and making a ton of money.
Yep.
Some of them are changing the world.
Yep.
But yeah, it just adds that level of realism, man.
You
just don't get that
through the internet.
Through the internet.
Yeah.
And
Using
I know
the internet as your portal.
It sounds weird to say that, but when you're there and you're having dinner with those people, just it's like, wow, I could really do this.
Yeah.
I can. This really happens to normal people. Yeah. I know it sounds a little corny, but that's what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up on our list here, so vidsummit.com. If you want information on that, just so everybody knows, it's happening in September in Dallas, Texas. So if you go to vidsummit.com, you'll see all the information that you need around that.
It's inspiring. If you take nothing else away from it, I think it's very inspiring, and it's fun.
It is all kinds of fun, and you learn a ton. If you go there and you pay attention, you take notes, all that stuff, you'll learn a ton.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a wallflower myself, but at that event, I feel comfortable around the other people because we're all kind of doing the same thing. We all kind of understand where we're at, so it allows me to kind of be a little bit more social than I normally am.
Yep. And even with that too, like everybody's really welcoming. Like for example, I walked into a conversation and this lady asked me, she said, like, hey, how do you like network? Because she had never been to something like that before. And she asked me, like, how do you network or whatever? And I was like, just walk up and start talking to people. And I was like, here, come on, just come hang out with me for a little bit. Yeah. And she hung out with me and we just like walked around and talked to people for like, 30, 45 minutes or whatever. And that just, got her warm, to where, she was just having conversations. And then, like everybody else just picked it up from there.
Yeah.
Like it's great.
99% of the people you go up and talk to are going to be totally cool.
Right. Right. But that 1%.
There is that 1%. And I'm not going to throw somebody under the bus here live, but there is that 1% that exists. They're out there. 99%. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
99.9%.
The 99.9.
So Suspicious Cincha says they upload 1 time per week or more. They do anime related content. The goal of the channel is to eventually work with my dream YouTubers. The question is, I'm finding minor success in short form content, but I'm scared that I'm fostering a short attention span community. Should I continue short form to build a community first, or long form content until the YouTube algorithm finds the right audience for me to build on? So here's the thing, and this is really important to understand, like as a new content creator, for everybody here that's new. So this framing right here, in terms of, but I'm scared of fostering a short attention span community. So I want to talk about that first. So yes, absolutely. If you're in shorts, you are going into shorts because probably you don't have a lot of time to spend, or maybe you're multitasking. You're like watching TV while you're doing that, or, something else is going on. You're just kind of killing some time. So because of that, the idea with shorts is that you are posting content there that is still appropriate for the people that you're trying to reach, but basically you're using shorts to meet them where they are. Right? That's the whole idea. So if somebody's into your content, like I can't even count how many content creators I found in YouTube Shorts. I'm like, wow, this is super helpful. So I click on the channel name and then I click on their main channel, and then I go there and then I'm like, oh, they're doing long form content too. And then I end up subscribing, end up watching a lot of their videos. Like the people that are the most interested in your content, they're going to do that. For the other, bunch of people that, that interact with that content for just a little bit of time or something that didn't really get that same value out of it, they're just going to pass right by, right? It's not going to be a big deal for them. But for the people that get a lot of value out of what it is that you're doing, they're either going to subscribe right there on the spot, or they're going to follow through or go into your channel, and they're going to see what else you're doing. And then if they see value there, then they're going to, subscribe there. Or they'll just start watching more of your content or whatever. So there's that. So shorts, absolutely, it's a different viewing experience in shorts. So when you're in shorts, it's not like like I have a pretty good attention span. I can focus on stuff, even though like I can be scatterbrained. When I sit down and I intentionally try to focus, I've, over many years, I've like trained my brain to be able to just sit there and just focus on the thing. Right. So, when it comes to shorts though, I absolutely go into shorts, even though I can focus on long form content and, go through, a long video. But when it comes to shorts, there are, people on there that are just skipping through, and that's fine. But don't assume that just because somebody's in shorts that they have a short attention span. That just happens to be what they're consuming for that moment in time. Some people, it's all they consume. Other people, they just go into there for that moment. And then when it comes to continuing short form content to build a community first, or long form content until the YouTube algorithm finds the right audience for me to build on. So here's all you need to do for the algorithm to find the right audience for you to build on. All you have to do is make videos. First, define the people that you actually are trying to reach. If you don't know who you're trying to reach, then it's going to be really difficult for YouTube systems to put you in front of the right people, right? Because then your content's going to be all over the place. You're not really going to be making anything for a very specific audience. So because of that, you have to get really clear on who it is that you're trying to reach with your content. That's like the very first thing that everybody should do. Who am I actually serving with this content? Who do I want watching my videos? What type of community do I want to build? What do I want those people to be like? And then from there, then you start making the content for those people based around the things that they're interested in. So in that particular case, on yours, you're doing anime related content. So if you start making anime content, you make it very clear in the title that it's anime content. Through your thumbnail, it's clear that it's anime content. And in your video description, it's clear that it's anime content. YouTube uses all of that, plus it uses the context that it gets from the actual video, from actually watching the video. Their system does that. And it gets context to what it is that your video is about. So you help it along by adding, the fact that it's anime to the title and to the video description, all written in like natural language, right? And when you do that, then you're giving their system the context that it needs to show it to those right people that you're seeking. Now, one of the things that you might find, because you're saying here, until the YouTube algorithm finds the right audience for me to build on. So if you're intentional about that audience that you're trying to build, then you just make the right content to get in front of them. And then from there, you're going to start getting feedback on that content, because people are going to get presented that content on different pages of YouTube. And then from there, those people are going to decide, okay, is this interesting to me or not? And then at that point, you're going to get the click or you're not. And from there, that's where you start, because you're like, YouTube showing my content to people. Now, how good am I getting them to click on that content? And you use your YouTube analytics to uncover that. And then from there, once they click on the content, how are they responding to it there? So the reason that those two things are important is because if you're putting out content, but you can't get people to click on it, YouTube not finding the right audience might not be the problem. The problem might be that you're not communicating through the outside packaging to somebody that has no idea what the video content's about. You might not be communicating that clearly, right? Through the outside, through the imagery that you're using, through, how you're doing your title and all that. So because of that, you have to make sure that you practice that, and that you're paying attention in your analytics to how people are responding to those choices that you're making around the packaging of your content. And then from there, once they do click in and they start, watching the video, that's where you use your audience retention reports as a gauge on like, okay, people are coming into my video, where are they leaving? How far am I able to get people to watch right now? Why do I think for the people that left, that took, this line from up here to being down here, for those people, why do I think they left this part of the video? Was I, dragging this on too long? Was I talking too much? Was I not talking enough? Was I showing too much, not showing enough? Was I cutting everything too fast to make it kind of like a, annoying experience? Or were things a little bit slower, and it was, too slow to where it made the video kind of boring? All of those types of things are things that you have to consider. But YouTube, as long as you package it up properly, YouTube will quickly know who the right people are to show it to. And then from there, it's our jobs as content creators to be able to get those people to respond once YouTube does show it to them.
Lisa Dawson, how you doing?
So to answer your question, I believe that you should do both. And the reason I think that you should do both is because these are both skills that you're going to need as a content creator. You're going to need to know how to grab people's attention with short form content. You're also going to need to know how to grab people's attention with long form content. So because of that, I would do both. And also with the short form content, it's easier because it just pops up in front of people versus you having to get people to click on it. So it can also keep you encouraged. I have a friend of mine right now. He has a drumming channel that he's building, and he's doing the same thing. He's mixing long form content with shorts. And one of the things is like, you publish a long form piece of content, maybe you get 300 views on it. Some of them have gotten, I think he has one with like 21,000 views on it or something like that. But some of them do okay. Some of them don't because he's still learning that part. But with his shorts, they will get a consistent amount of views and all that. So it just kind of keeps him with the mind state of like, okay, yeah, people are responding to my content. I just got to get better at making the long form stuff, right? Because I'm getting people to respond to the short form. Now I got to learn how to get, a similar response with the long form. So by doing both, you're going to train yourself up and get yourself prepared for doing really well in the long form side and also doing well in the short form content for whatever platform. Because once you learn how to make content, you can make that content anywhere.
Yeah. Hey, Neil, how you doing? Nice to see you.
What's up, Neil?
Hey, you got a super chat from
Farley
Storytelling Junkie.
Storytelling Junkie says, thanks for taking the time to address my unanswered question, Nick. My apologies for being so upset. Please keep up the great work. I'll continue to watch you. Thank you whenever, Farley. Thank you for the super chat, and I'm not 100% sure.
That was the one where he left a super chat when the stream was closing. You had to answer it the next time.
Oh, okay.
And you didn't see it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sometimes that happens. If something comes in, like as everything's closing down, sometimes we don't even see it because we'll like already start closing down chat and, things like that. Sometimes we don't even see it. And then other times, like it'll be there, but like we're already closing it down because I have time limits. Like I have to stop within a certain amount of time because I use Opus Clip to repurpose my content. And right now there's a 3-hour limitation on it. It's going to be lifted soon, but right now there's a 3-hour limitation on it. So I have to make sure that I get in under that cut or else it just won't even accept my, stream.
Yeah. Sometimes like literally we'll hit in stream and then we hit end and then like a super chat or something will come through and there's nothing we can do.
Right.
Yeah. Except for get it next time.
Yep.
Anyway, glad that got worked out.
Yeah. So next up on our list, we got Floppy Deep Dive. Sounds like a fun channel. They do
Floppy
retro
Deep
computers.
Dive.
Sounds even more fun.
Floppy disks.
Doing retro computers. Yep.
Love it.
The goal is to build a community and share my love for retro computers and games. And the question is, this year I started to create shorts a lot more for my channel. They all relate to my niche, and I'm trying to expand my audience by doing this strategy. I currently sit at almost 5,000 subscribers, but I feel YouTube has locked in my target audience after 3 years. So for me to get others' eyes on my videos, I use shorts. Is this a good strategy? Absolutely. When you use shorts, it does get your content in front of, more new people, which is great. But on the other side of that, if you can get people to respond better to the content that you are currently publishing on the channel, and you do that by all the stuff that I just talked about learning how people are responding to what it is that you're doing, and then modifying what it is that you're doing to create that better experience for the people that are interacting with the content. If you can do that, then your videos will break through bigger thresholds. And the reason that happens is, and if you've been watching my content or hanging out in these streams, like you've heard me say this a bunch, but how the whole thing works is when you first publish a video, YouTube shows it to the people on the platform at that moment in time that are the most likely to not just engage with the content, but also to enjoy it and have a good experience with that based on the things that they care about. And then from there, based on how they respond to it, it goes out to, a bigger group of people. And then that keeps happening over and over again. Think of it kind of like, ripples, right? In a pond or something. So basically, as it goes out to more and more people, once you get to a ripple where people aren't responding at a competitive rate, then in that particular case, your content gets kind of stuck there because the other content that people are responding to there, that ends up taking their priority there. So basically you end up kind of losing out competitively to the content that, that people are responding to at a higher rate. So if you're wanting to break into more new people, it's going to come down to, like, you can absolutely get more new people involved with using shorts. Absolutely. But if you want to like supercharge all of that, then do the shorts, but also, in your long form content, like really spend some time. Like if you can do it once a month, that's great, to where you just go in, you open up the videos on your channel that you published for the month, and you look into them, look at the click-through rate, look at, on the different pages of YouTube and advanced analytics into your traffic sources report. Look at your retention on the different pages of YouTube. Look at your audience retention reports specifically on the individual video, the absolute retention reports. Also look at the compared to other videos report. These are just going to tell you how competitive you are against other videos of similar length. It's going to tell you how people are responding to your videos over time. And using all of that information, it will over time help you make better content. And then once your content starts, breaking through those thresholds or those limits, then in that particular case, what's going to happen is you'll start getting in front of more new viewers because more people are responding better to the content. So I would go after both, is what I'm saying. But as you're going after both, just look for places that you can improve with every video on the long form side, and just make sure that you are looking in your analytics and paying attention to how people are responding, so that you can make sure that you are modifying things slightly as you need to get that better response. Because YouTube's all about trying to show content to the right people at the right time that they're going to enjoy. So, when you are publishing videos and you are, getting your content out to, larger and larger groups of people, the more people that are enjoying that content at a competitive rate, the farther it's going to go. Competitive for each group. So next up, we've got Motivational Deshaun is the name of the channel. They do information-based content. The goal of the channel is to spread positivity and help those who need helping. Love it. Says, hey guys, do you have any suggestions on how to keep my channel growing at an unexpected rate? I started my channel back in October. One of my videos has 90,000 views. Also, I have monetized in those few months. So that 90,000 view video has clues all over it. You might be able to follow it up. You might not.
What's the channel called?
What you want to look at is you want to look at the topic.
Channel?
Yeah, we are on number 23.
No,
the channel's called Motivational Deshaun, Dasean. But basically what you want to do is you want to look at that 90K video, and you want to think of things like, okay, what the topic of this video, is this at a higher interest? When I published this video, was this, this idea, the ideas around this video, was it, something that was, trending, or, just higher interest in general? What type of content is it, D?
I can't find it.
Oh, you can't find it?
Nope.
Yeah, in the form on number 23, there's a link in there. That's why I mentioned that. Here, I'll actually pull it up real quick.
No, I can't find it.
So your interesting facts about Bob Marley and his son's best quotes. Okay, so this is all Bob Marley stuff. That's cool.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so you've only got a handful of videos on your channel. You got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's something I just want to put a big spotlight on for everybody. He's got 9 videos on the YouTube channel. He's got shorts also, but 9 videos on the YouTube channel. Out of those 9 videos, one of those videos has 94,000 views, and another one has 3.7 thousand views out of those 9 videos. So for everybody that's like YouTube, blah, 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 like 94,000 views on that video. And that was his 1, 2, 3, 4, his 5th video on the channel. Wow. But what you're doing right here is you are making videos about somebody who's already popular. So because of that, you already have a leg up, because now it's not about you and about the audience that you're trying to build, around you. It's about tapping into people that are interested in Bob Marley and people that are going on, in his particular life. If that is what you're going to be doing, I recommend that you do get your channel together around that, because right now it looks like everything was scattered for the first couple of videos, and then you locked into the Bob Marley thing. So if that's what you're going to lean into, then I would, and you're doing the right thing. As long as you want to continue growing an entire channel around Bob Marley, then chasing that with additional Bob Marley videos, you're doing the right thing there. But when it comes to this particular thing, just go into your content, because here you have Bob Marley's children from oldest to youngest. It's just a list video. And then in the other ones here, you got, their best quotes and, things like that. So here you're just doing a bunch of different information around Bob Marley. So I would follow it up with more list videos about interesting things about Bob Marley, see if that gets any attention, because here you have best quotes, which is different, because here it's Bob Marley and his sons, their best quotes. That's not about them, that's about things that they've said, right? So it's a roundabout way. But when it comes to the Bob Marley's children, the oldest to youngest, then it's oh, he has kids? Oh, I didn't even know he had kids. How many kids does he have? Yeah. Right? So it's just a more interesting thing.
I don't know how many kids
I don't know either.
He has, but I assume he would have a lot.
Yeah, it looks like, at least in the thumbnail, it looks like there's 5. in the thumbnail, but I'm not sure.
Not surprised.
But anyway, just kind of, digging into what's already worked and then trying to follow suit. And from what I'm seeing here, it seems like this one right here is just like a list video that's just some interesting stuff about Bob Marley, not about stuff that he says, but about, Bob Marley himself. So you might want to try some more of that type of thing. But keep in mind, though, like if you keep walking down that path, it's going to just lock you in, there. So I would be careful about, just consistently making that unless you want to be a Bob Marley channel. Yeah. And also just other things too, like here you have, this thing about, wanting to spread peace and love and all this stuff in your, About Me page. All of that is fantastic. But if you are going to be doing stuff about Bob Marley, I would make that clear. So it's like, have the whole thing about, you wanting to share peace and love. But for the people that are landing on the channel, if you are going to continue making Bob Marley content and that's going to be the path that you're going to walk, then in that case, I would just do everything like, we feature the best stuff about Bob Marley and blah, blah. It's a Bob Marley fan channel, so on and so forth, and build the whole thing around that so that people that are into Bob Marley, they can see you as a resource for anything that they want to know about Bob Marley. Any additional thoughts there, D?
Yeah. Or just build it out with a wider net and think about, well, if somebody's into Bob Marley, what else
could they watch?
Who else and what else would they be interested in? And cover those things as well.
Yep.
Think like the viewer.
Yep.
As a Bob Marley fan, based on the sort of things you're talking about on your channel, what else would those people be interested in, and go down that? Because you can paint yourself into a corner, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you're a Bob Marley fan channel, how much content for how long? He's not with us anymore.
Right.
How much content can you possibly come up with over a period of time for Bob Marley?
That's why I highlighted that idea.
Yeah. Seems like you would run out of things to talk about after a while.
Yeah. So, Demon Dro, thanks for the super chat, man. Super appreciate it.
No content, no cry.
Right. No content, no cry. Yeah. So Demon Dro says, my channel got botted. My main demo was 50% India. My views went down a lot. I noticed the views started going up again and now is 80% US. How do you protect yourself from a rival channel trying to sabotage you? You can't. So, if somebody tries to view bot you or something like that, then, you just have to absorb it. There's nothing really that you can do about that, unfortunately. So, what happens from the outside, nothing you can do. But the fortunate thing is, if it's like bot traffic and stuff like that, YouTube does detect that and they will remove those views. They will remove that watch time. Those channels end up getting deleted eventually, that kind of stuff. So just keep doing your thing. And I wouldn't even make a stink about it. Just pretend you're not even noticing, and just keep delivering your content and the value that you do, and just keep walking down that road. Because what that person wants, if you're getting botted, what that person wants is they want you to make a video about it. They want it to stress you out. They want it to cause issues for you. That's their goal. So don't let them know that those things are happening, and just continue on, providing value to your viewers, and then everything should straighten itself out over time, because they're not going to be able to do it forever.
Yeah, let me add to that you may not have been botted. India's massive.
Yeah, it is.
If
they share one video in one place, they can just flood you.
Yeah. Somebody just may have shared one video or a couple videos, and then here they come. If you get on the radar in India with your content or your website, they're coming.
Right.
They're coming by the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands.
Yep. And one thing also is you did mention that your views are going up again, and now it's 80% U.S. audience. So one of the cool things about that is if you get your views to the same point that you had before, you're going to make a lot more money. Yeah. Because when it comes to India and where I'm at too, in Thailand, the ad rates here are abysmal. Yeah. So what you're going to make in the U.S. Is going to, by having a dominant U.S. audience, you're going to make way more in comparison.
So I'm here. We're reading in the chat. So I'm reading anywhere between 9 and 12 children for Bob Marley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just taking that from the thumbnail.
Hold on. What did I say? I said Bob Marley. I thought he would have a lot.
Yeah.
When I think Bob Marley, I think someone who wants to make sure that he's doing his part to continue our species.
Okay.
And Bob didn't let me down. Is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. Bob did his part. Bob did his part.
He says it was a bot because he posts 1 second. There was this insane channel. Oh, there's the same channel making a comment in 3 seconds on both of my channels. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it could have been a bot then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, could have been bots.
Yeah.
Other things too, like you can go in and you can actually look on your channel, go into your traffic sources and see where all your views came from. If they were coming, if they're bot attacking you, then in that case, they'll be direct views or they'll be views coming from the channel page. Because you know, they wouldn't be able to pick it up in recommendations fast enough or search if you put content there. But if you find in your traffic source report that you have a huge surge just coming from your channel page, then that's abnormal, right? So I would go in there and just kind of, you know, just confirm, you know, all of that to confirm it was happening at scale, right? Not just with the initial commenter.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. T's Hot Mess says, talking about Bob Marley, he took the be fruitful and multiply scripture to heart.
Yep, totally.
He did.
Yeah.
I would expect nothing less from him.
Right.
I just got that vibe.
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, if he's got less than 8 kids, I'm going to be disappointed.
Right. Right. Yeah, he says, what about the comment about money and then 20 replies talking about one person making all the commenters money? Yeah, that kind of stuff too. Like that just happens all over YouTube. So those aren't really like attacks per se. Those are more like spam, you know, things where people are, you know, like the one bot will come in, they'll say the thing and they're just scouring YouTube for, you know, videos and they're posting them all over the place. Those typically don't last very long just because they literally are spamming and their system will detect that.
Okay, so we have an interesting comment here. Amazing Yacht Destination says, what's up with the camera? Dee's mic is blurry, and Nick's left arm sleeve is the same as well. I checked on my phone and TV. Let me blow this up. Where are we at? My mic is blurry. I don't care if the mic...
Maybe it's the front shot?
Yeah, it's probably the mic. Yeah. As long as we are in focus,
yeah,
it should be focused on us.
Yeah.
So there's something else here that's not tack
Yeah,
sharp.
so if the mic is blurry or our shirt's blurry, it could just be because the lens has, you know, like it's a low aperture or whatever.
Yeah.
So Learn Spanish World, they do educational content. The goal of the channel is to provide value on my YouTube community by uploading a wide range of Spanish lessons. And the goal of the question is, I've been trying to work on my shorts for a while now, but it's not really working for me. My channel shorts absolutely suck. Should I just stick to long form videos? It seems my audience is not interested in shorts. Yeah, if you find that they're not interested in shorts and they're not responding to them, then in that particular case, yeah, like there's not a requirement that says that we have to do shorts. Like, you know, if you look at my channel, I haven't uploaded a short in like 7 months. So I got a series coming out for new YouTubers that's going to go into shorts. And that's going to be just an experiment. But in terms of even if I'm going to continue shorts from there, I don't know. It's just going to depend on if I can come up with additional themes like that, because I don't want to just make shorts just for like, hey, here's one short about this thing. I don't want to do that anymore. Instead, I want to make it to where people can just sit back and watch a bunch of shorts like back to back.
So I did a slight adjustment while you were talking there. Did that help the focus at all? I just had a slight adjustment on
Did you tap a focal
Yeah,
point?
we were having some problems when we turned this camera on today. We turned it on and it was like,
oh,
hey,
that's right. I remember you saying like, oh, there's that camera again.
Yeah. It was asking us what language do you want. So I think there were some things that reset. I just kind of reset the focus. Let me know if there's still focus issue.
Yeah, he says maybe we're AI and we got that cheap 2023 AI stuff. That old school AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's going to just start eating spaghetti out of nowhere.
That day's coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That day is coming.
86. They have been on YouTube for a year or more. It's a help channel. The goal of the channel is to teach line cooks and chefs soft skills like interpersonal communication. Ooh, love that.
Hey, Doodles.
Question is, I've been seeing a lot of videos saying retention editing, Mr. B style editing is on the way out and people are looking for something less edited and more real. Is this accurate? And what are some other editing techniques that are now outdated? Here's the thing. YouTube has over 2 billion viewers that are logged in on the platform. And because of that, different audiences, different people respond to different things. So when people are like, oh yeah, just everybody is not into that anymore, take all that stuff with a grain of salt, because there isn't like an everybody scenario on YouTube, because, you know, there's international audiences, there's, you know, different age groups, there's different interests, things like that. And people respond to different types of content. You know, just if we take it off of the internet, just like some people don't watch romance novels and then some people will, or romance movies, and then other people will watch every romance movie that comes out because they love it. Just like some people will watch every sci-fi movie that comes out because they love it, but then there's other people that just hate sci-fi. Same exact thing applies to editing styles. So the important thing to do is to experiment with different editing styles until you figure out what works best for your audience and what it is that they respond to. So, you know, when it comes to YouTube, there isn't the blanket thing. Now, one thing that you are going to see is people are going to reference things to where it's like, yeah, you know, authenticity is, you know, the new future of YouTube. Well, newsflash, authenticity has always been the thing on YouTube. People just edit, you know, around that authenticity, right? So, you know, that's why it's YouTube. That's why, you know, people connect with channels. Like, for example, there's a ton of YouTube help channels, and I know a lot of you watch a lot of those YouTube help channels, but you don't watch all of them, and you're choosing to watch mine, and you're choosing to watch, you know, some of the other ones that you watch, but you don't watch every one. And the reason for that is because, you know, we, you know, align, you know, in some way. And when it comes to the different editing styles, you know, you are going to respond to something different than, you know, than some of the things that the other channels are doing. Some of the other channels are targeting younger groups of people because, you know, there's a bigger pool of people there interested in YouTube. So they're, you know, editing, you know, for that particular audience, and that's fine. With me, I don't edit as crazy as they do. I don't, you know, I don't pace everything as fast as they do. Sometimes I do, but you know, that could be one of the things that, you know, helps you, you know, consume my content easier. I don't know, but when it comes to, you know, your content, I recommend that you experiment with different editing styles. Do some that are really lightly edited. Do some that are heavily edited, and just see, right? Does it make a difference for the people that I'm trying to reach? And in some cases it will. In other cases, it's not going to matter at all. In some cases, the fast editing is going to make a huge difference. In other cases, slow editing is going to make a big difference. So it really comes down to just experimentation and figuring out what your audience for your content, what it is that they respond to best. Yeah. And never accept like blanket statements like that, because, you know, like every channel on YouTube, the audiences respond differently to the content. So because of that, you know, don't take those blanket statements with anything else than a grain of salt.
Yeah. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, the rage was everybody talking about how to quit YouTube, and people were making videos about how I quit YouTube.
Right.
A lot of people now are talking about retention editing is dead.
Right.
It's just, it's now.
Here's what happens. Well, here, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that might be true, but, you know, new people are coming on YouTube. There's all sorts of different age ranges and demographics. There are tens of millions of people who are still going to respond to really fast-paced editing. Mm-hmm. Mr. Beast style editing, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm. He's even slowed down.
Right.
He's experimenting with it.
He's experimenting. But you have to see what works for your audience.
Right.
I believe, and this is what I've always done. I've always done this with my videos. I think there's no right or wrong way to do it. Sometimes my video will be a little bit fast, and then certain parts I have to slow down for. Mm-hmm. And then certain parts I want to speed up for and put a lot of stuff in there.
That makes them more interesting.
Right. So one thing that you can think of, so you can Google, it's called a pattern interrupt. So even if you have slower content, you can experiment with doing things every so often to kind of like reset the viewer's attention. It's called a pattern interrupt. And one of the things that you can do is that they're calling it retention editing, is you can do a couple of interesting things to kind of like, oh, that was cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was cool. And just kind of like reset their attention, and then you can like slow it back down again. But it all comes down to testing. It all comes down to your audience, and what worked last year might not work this year. What's working right now on your channel might not work a year from now.
Right.
So these are things that you're always going to have to stay on top of. Go ahead. You were going to add something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I was going to say.
You're talking about Mr. Beast. He's testing, slowing down. So I've always believed this. I always thought that Mr. Beast, and no shade towards Mr. Beast at all, but I always felt that style of editing was definitely geared towards a younger audience. It's the TikTok, you know, just like every 3 seconds something. For me, that was always too much. That was always too much. But on the flip side of that, I come across some channels that I'm just like, come on, man, do something. I just want to poke them with a stick.
Right.
You know, edit, cut, do something, man.
Dance, monkey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Dance, man. Come on. Zoom in. Do something, man.
Yeah.
Like, show me some B-roll. Right. So I think there's a happy medium somewhere. But again, it's your audience.
Yeah.
You know, listen, if you're 12 years old and you're watching my content, I appreciate you, but I'm not making content for 12-year-olds.
Right.
Right. Right. I want to make content for people who want to learn and who can pay attention if I don't edit quickly. Yep. I'm not interested in people going up too slow, swipe.
Right.
you know, you're not my audience.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that clarity is also like really, you know, really
You,
important.
you have to know who your target audience is.
Right.
If you're trying to reach a younger audience, maybe that works.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't.
But yeah, like, you know, things like that, like if you experiment with your own stuff, you know, like, you know, different things are appropriate for different audiences. You know, that's why even other things too, like it's not just the video, like the speed of your edits. It's also things like, okay,
It's all the stuff,
you know,
man.
what type of music am I playing in the background?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you, for example, like you could be playing some type of like, you know, techno music or trap music or whatever, and it could just completely turn your audience off because that's not just, you know, what they listen to at scale. So, you know, those types of things are, you know, important. The cadence of your speech, you know, will make a difference for, you know, your videos and how people respond to them. You know, all kinds of different things, you know, when it comes to you putting your videos together, you know, make a difference.
John says it looks like he says you're in 1080p, but it looks like you're in 480.
So check the settings. If
How
you
weird.
are,
It looks fine on my end.
yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I'll have to watch the replay. Maybe they're serving out like a lower quality right now. Maybe there's something weird going on with YouTube.
Could be.
You know, so John also says Peter McKinnon, same thing, jump cuts galore.
We
You
were
know
actually
what?
talking about that.
Pete, he's really tasteful with his cuts.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah,
I
he knows
think
what he's doing.
There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And I think that's where like being a more experienced video
Yeah,
editor.
we're 1080.
Being a
we're
more
good.
experienced video editor comes in. An inexperienced video editor trying to mimic someone, let's just use Peter McKinnon or Mr. Beast, they're different style of editing, but they're pretty fast paced. Unless you know what you're doing, you might mess it up.
Right.
Like it might come out a lot
It's
worse.
not just about the cuts. It's not
Yeah.
about how fast you're cutting. It's about how you're holding attention.
Yeah,
And
telling
those are
the
two
story with
wildly
it.
different
Yeah.
things. Like, and telling the story that goes along with it. Like, you know, one of the ideas that I try to express, because I have a lot of new content creators that watch my content, is that there's a gigantic difference between cutting your content and editing your content. When you're cutting your content, then you're just, you know, cutting out some space, maybe you're adding B-roll or whatever. But when you're editing your content, you're being very intentional about the cuts that you're making. You're being very intentional about, like Dee was talking about, I'm going to be a little bit fast here. I'm going to slow it down a little bit here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to be more graphics here. Maybe I'm going to add some music here because this thing that like, you know, point that I'm getting ready to land on, maybe I'm going to build up a little bit of music to it and then drop on that point. Like those types of things. You're just being a lot more intentional about all of the decisions that you're making during the editing process. Big difference.
So Doug said his was defaulting to 480p. So check the settings if it looks grainy. Yeah, maybe YouTube's having some issues. Or it looks fine over here. Next.
The Anxious Stepmom says they've been on YouTube, or sorry, they upload one time per week or more, been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They do support for stepmoms who are overwhelmed and functioning or just plain over it.
Wow.
The goal of the channel.
That is niche.
Yeah, it is. Or over functioning. Yep, and just plain over
Support
it.
for stepmoms.
Yep.
That is really niche.
Yep, and by
Interesting.
over functioning, like high, you know, high level stepmoms, I guess, like people that are like doing way more. So the goal of the channel is to help stepmoms worry less and have way more fun in this unique role. Question. Hey, Nick, I've been using a repurposing tool to share my TikToks to my channel in between my weekly longer form videos. Those TikToks over a minute, usually talking head educational, appear with my regular videos, the shorts, or versus shorts. Do you recommend I create thumbnails for these as I would my longer videos? If they're showing up in your videos tab when you go to your YouTube channel, then add a thumbnail to them. If they're not, then if they're showing up in the shorts side, then in that case, you know, you wouldn't be able to add a thumbnail to it. So a couple things I want you to think about here really quick is if you're using a repurposing tool and all it is doing is automatically downloading your TikToks and publishing them over to YouTube, make sure it doesn't have any watermarks on them or anything like that, because if you do, then that can cause some limitations. So because of that, just make sure that you don't have any TikTok, you know, watermarks on there. I would also make sure that when it comes to the title, because on TikTok, you know, the content just pops up. So the title, it's important, but it's not like the be all end all. But if you are showing up in the videos tab and you're being recommended around YouTube, the title is going to matter. So because of that, you know, you would definitely want to add, if it's showing up on the video side, you would definitely want to add a thumbnail. You definitely want to add a well thought out title to it instead of just repurposing it and forgetting about it.
Yeah, and just a little FYI. So I looked on Google. We were talking about that Boya microphone. I did not look on YouTube. I looked on Google, and YouTube is obviously a Google property. So I just opened up YouTube, and lo and behold, here's videos being recommended for external microphones to your phone, and particularly Boya microphones.
Nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, nobody's listening though.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, they're obviously they're taking it from Google.
Yep.
But yeah.
Ghosty says, "I'll buy you 1,000 viewers so you get banned by YouTube." Just saying. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. Appreciate it. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Uncovering DC. They do daily content, but on YouTube for less than a year. The type of channel is Washington, D.C. focused, mainly historical. The goal of the channel is increasing my views, and my why is I love creating. The question is regarding short videos, would it be best to unlist videos that have a low view count after a couple of weeks? So when it comes to publishing content, yes, view counts are important because that means that people are interacting with the content, but leaving them on your channel if they have low views isn't a bad thing. And the reason it's not a bad thing is because let's say that 3 months from now, I subscribe to your YouTube channel and I'm like, wow, I love this stuff. Well, what's going to happen next is I'm going to go and I'm going to start looking at your other content. I'm going to see, if there's anything else there that I might enjoy. So I might run across a video that doesn't have a lot of views on it, but if it's still based around something that, I might get value from, I'm still going to watch it. So because of that, leaving that content up there, if it's something that is going to add value to the people that are interacting with your content, leave it up. But if you're like, you know what? This isn't appropriate for my channel. It's about something that I, cared about, 6 months ago, and I just published this. I don't even know why I published it to the channel. It's not relevant to this audience that I'm trying to reach or the general theme of my channel. Then in that particular case, that's where you might want to take it down. But if you just upload a video and it underperforms, then in that case, you can leave it there, and it could just, start performing out of nowhere because that happens too. But also, for the people that really enjoy your content, those people will go and watch some of that content that didn't do that great within the recommendation system. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out here today. I want to remind you that we got a bunch of helpful tools and resources down in the description for you. I also want to remind you that if you are a new content creator, that it's important to remember that YouTube, it comes with a learning curve, just like anything else that you're going to do. So if you're at that point right now where you're struggling and you're like, man, I'm just trying to, if I could just get, just a little bit more traction on what it is that I'm doing, then I would be like, all right, just keep working on your skill sets, because your skill sets and your understanding of just kind of how things work and your understanding of your audience, most importantly, those things are going to get you further than anything else that you can do. Understanding your audience, serving them in the best way that you can, and then learning how to make your videos better by working on the skill sets, and learning how to capture people's attention better by working on your skill sets too. Learning how to make better thumbnails, come up with better content ideas, write better titles, and make better video content. All of those things, they require, skills, and those skills are developed over time. So if you're not getting the results that you want right now, focus on your understanding of your audience and focus on building the skills that you need in order to do the thing, right? Because nobody just starts something new and then all of a sudden it's just awesome at it. All of this stuff takes, time. So because of that, just make sure that you are focusing on the right things, which is your skill development and your understanding of the audience that you are trying to serve. So on that note, everybody have a fantastic rest of your week. D, great stream.
Yep.
Have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you got value from the stream today. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Have a great week.